Hey, chaps.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Hi.
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
Yeah, that's good then. Know where to put this. Nah.
Can you hear me all right?
Looks like Lee's going to keep his language clean, but give us a show.
Your camera looks a lot better.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I've got this webcam through the post.
Oh, did you?
That's working well.
Yeah, they are. They're good cameras. That's better, I think. I'm in my shed.
Have you got no? I thought you got no electric out there yet.
I haven't looked.
You animal.
It's getting done, don't worry. I'm having a 30 amp spare into it, or no, 30 amp feed into it from the meter box.
Guys, we are live. Do you know that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Neil was having trouble logging into it, I thought maybe I had to be live for you guys to join, so I made it live. So
I know he's watching us, are they?
yeah.
Let's hope so.
Well, there are a couple people. If any of you are watching, we're just we're about an hour away, not quite an hour away from the actual start, but we were joining to test. Somebody make sure it was going to work.
Hey, smile. I lay down.
Trying to get everything where I can bloody see everything. I need a bigger desk.
Ain't that always the case?
Exactly.
You progress and you end up with a room, then you fill the room full of shit.
Exactly. Look, see, snezzes.
Smile.
Get rid of these snezzes. Move this onto here. Put that down there. There you go. I'm sorted. Just need a beer now.
Oh, that's a good call.
There's 2 drinks on my table, but neither one of them is alcoholic. So I did a little drinking last night, and I don't think I need to do that again today.
What's everyone been up?
What was that?
What's everybody been up to today? Anything good?
I've been in VR.
What have you been playing?
Subnautica.
That's great in VR.
That is really good. That and Skyrim.
Yeah, it's good. I've been playing that dinosaur game, Path of Titans.
I've not heard of that one.
No, it's quite good. It's quite interesting.
Is that on PC?
Hey?
Is that on PC?
Yeah, on PC. Yeah, well, it's on everything. It's on PC, PS5, everything. It's cross-platform as well.
All right.
Which is good.
I can't say as I've done much today. I've, like I said, I did a bit of drinking last night, so I didn't get up very early. Feeling okay now, but it was a little rough this morning. I have I have an uncle who's the lead singer of a country and western band. And whenever his band plays in my hometown, I go and see them, and they played last night. So I was watching them and getting a little tipsy.
Nice. Calm down. Come down you get. Josip, what have you been up to?
Oh, me. Well, I tried to make some video today, but I haven't finished it yet. Yeah.
Jesus.
Sorry about that. Let me fix that.
You got a brontosaurus there.
I'm going to say, it wasn't mine. He's just laying here on the couch sleeping.
So what are we talking about tonight? Does anybody know?
Quite a big dog, so yeah. Well, I tried to finish some video, but yeah, still some work to do. I don't know. I wasn't really productive today. Not so much.
Well, it's Sunday and it's a bank holiday weekend, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Got bags under my eyes.
you can, if you want to fix wrinkly skin or bags as you get older, I can tell you my trick. I'm fat.
What's that?
I'm fat.
Yeah, yeah. Smooths out all the wrinkles. I'm all over that.
Yes, it does. So just make your way over to Greg's a few times a week, and you'll fix that problem, Neil.
I'm all over that as well. Them steak slices are superb.
I've never been to.
I just lost internet access then.
Yeah, I've never been to Britain, so I can't say I have ever experienced Greg's, but I hear all about it on all the comedy shows. So
Greg's, yeah.
Purveyors of fine baked products.
we don't really do the sausage roll or anything like that in the States. We have hot dogs, wieners on buns, but we don't do anything where you bake the meat into the
pastry.
Yeah.
You got Wendy's, though, haven't you?
We have Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, all the big nasties.
Wendy's is the one with the square burgers, isn't it?
Yes, that's them.
What?
You would think at least if they were going to make square burgers, they'd put them on square buns. But no, they don't do that. Square burgers on a round bun.
Oh, dear.
So is this going to work this time? And are the comments going to come through live, or?
Well, I've seen a couple of comments here. There are a couple that are they're showing a comment that I'm seeing right now. I think those are coming through from YouTube.
Oh, that's good then.
So hopefully we'll be able to chat with our viewers. Hello, Evil J. See, I figured out what your name means now.
Oh yeah, Evil J.
We've got a viewer whose handle is 3VI1J.
Yeah, it's like a number plate, isn't it?
Yeah, he was on my live last weekend, and I kept calling him 3V because I hadn't figured out what it meant. But I think I saw him on. I was watching. I don't know if any of you were on More Fun Making It's live. I think it was last weekend as well. It was a really good one. He was on there, and he mentioned what his handle stood for. So now I know.
See, I'm unable to type into this chat though.
Yeah, I cannot type also.
Why is that?
Not in comments. I can do.
No, it's strange, isn't it? Yeah.
I can. It looks like I can type into it. I don't know why you guys can't.
You're the host.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you guys wouldn't be able to because you're invited guests. I'm not really familiar with this StreamYard software that we're using. I just used it because that's what Steve used last time.
Yes.
I can type in the bottom, no problem.
Okay.
You can. In comments.
Yeah, yours come up as well.
When?
I don't have it in comments.
No, go to comments, the next tab. Not private tab.
I can see the comments, but I cannot type.
But you can't type.
Oh dear.
Any of us going to VCF Southwest? Well, the rest of us, apart from myself, are not in the United States, so that would be pretty difficult for them. And me, I've got responsibilities here that I really can't take off, so I'm stuck. And thanks for the congratulations on fixing the machine. Yeah, that was a stupid mistake, assuming I made a mistake. I don't know if there was just a 374 in the wrong drawer or whether I opened the wrong drawer. So yeah, Josip, I just saw your comment pop up. So
yeah.
Yeah. I did it through YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Had a rehearsal before this, Marcus? I don't think so. We're actually early on the call itself because it's not due to start until 2:30 my time, 7:30 British time. We just all wanted to make sure we could log into the stream and start until make sure 2:30 my time, 7:30 British time. We just all wanted to make sure we could log into the stream and start until make sure 2:30 my time, 7:30 British time. We just all. So yeah. Whoever that was who just had my voice playing, you're echoing back into the stream, so you'll have to mute your YouTube channel.
Right. Does that say? Okay. The minute I opened YouTube at the same time, it lost its shit.
I try not. I don't have YouTube open at the same time. I'm worried that I'd have bandwidth issues if I tried to do both at the same time. So maybe that's your issue.
What in then?
Ah, yep. That works.
I could be a master criminal now, look.
No, master criminals have fluffy white cats.
It's black and white. This is best of both worlds.
Well, I like your cat just fine, but I'm just saying, when you watch the James Bond movie, Blofeld's stroking a big fluffy white cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus, we have a few animal visitors. Josip had a dog outside barking. I've got my doggy up here with me, and
he's on top of the couch.
Yeah, he took to doing that, and I figured it's just easier to let him do it than try to train him not to. So yeah. he usually sits a little closer to where I am and he looks out the front window, but I'm blocking him because if he opens the curtains, I'm going to be backlit and you won't be able to see me at all, which might be a blessing if you think about it. But
yeah, Evil said he's got a fluffy white cat, and his name is Evil.
Marcus, do you still got some sort of feedback? He said in the comments someone's got external speakers coming back into the stream.
yeah, that was earlier.
Oh, okay.
So I think you got it cleared up. Yeah, Marcus just confirmed it's cleared.
Right, I'm going to disappear and get some nose bag. I'll see you in a bit.
Feel free.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, for those of you on the call with us, just so you know, we've still got about 35, nearly 40 minutes to start. And obviously we're missing now Captain Commodore, Lee, and we're still missing Steve. So that's 8-bit Retro ReFix. So it might get quiet for a while. Hey guys, Josip and Neil, if you guys want to drop off, feel free.
Oh, I was on mute. Okay. Oh, we have someone from Croatia.
Today's my birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. It's nice. What are we doing for a living? Well, we kind of work for a living.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm currently unemployed. I'm looking for a new position.
Okay.
Yeah, I work in IT support now. I used to work in MacBook repair before this. I used to always work in repair actually, but I've left repair now. I'm going to something easier.
So you just brought your work home and doing all your repairs at home now.
I can concentrate more at home now because when I was doing board repairs at work every day, you came home, you didn't want to do any more, did you? So I sort of lost my hobby that way, and now I've got it back.
That's nice.
Yeah, I've always been a developer in one form or another. My last job, I was doing robotic process automation, RPA.
Clever.
Building software robots to do the job of to take people's jobs away is what it really was. But you had to tell people, oh, this is so you can do more value-added stuff. We'll free up your time so you can do more value-added stuff. What we're really doing is freeing up your time so we can can your ass.
Yeah, I'm actually officially embedded programmer, but I actually do all kind of programming types and whatever it needs to be done. So all sorts of things.
Yeah,
Professionally and in like amateur.
I've kind of been the same way over the course of my career. My last position, I developed in primarily Microsoft Access, but also part of it was Excel, a program that this company was using to help manage their budget. They had a big, they had PeopleSoft, a big corporate CRM and all kinds of management software, but it wasn't granular enough for what they wanted to do. So they had me build this other tool, and well, I finally got that the way they wanted, and they said, bye-bye. So then I moved into RPA. But yeah, I programmed, I do the web languages, JavaScript and TypeScript in those. With Access, of course, it's Visual Basic for applications. And yeah, someone's echoing me. There we go.
That was me. Sorry, I was trying to see if I could reply on the phone.
But yeah, I mean, I've been sort of all over. That's kind of my problem is if I had specialized more early on, like if I'd become a very proficient C# programmer or maybe specifically .NET, it would actually be easier for me to find a job now. But because I have such random knowledge and never complete, well, I'd say I'm pretty complete in Visual Basic, but nobody knows Visual Basic. But if I'd had a more of a specialty, it'd be easier to find a job now. The fact that I'm a generalist kind of hurts me at this point.
Okay.
Just it's a bit delayed if you use a phone, isn't it?
Yeah, there's delay. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can speak.
I think there's just delay. Well, there's delay for your phone, yes, but I think there's also delay between when StreamYard gets our video and when it gets to YouTube. So there's a delay in there.
Yes.
Old school Visual Basic. I never did Visual Basic. I did Pascal when I was at college.
I did take Pascal way back when I was at university. I have completely forgotten now. I couldn't program a line of it.
All I could remember, you had to list all the variables first.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you had to list all the variables first, and you could pull them later. It was strange, but yeah.
Yeah, back then Pascal was in schools more than C or C++, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, but I also did some work in Visual Basic, and I I remember the time when there was one period when they pushed Basic Script and JavaScript into browsers, and you could use either of those.
Yeah, Netscape started with JavaScript in their browser, and then when Microsoft brought out the first version of Internet Explorer, they put both JavaScript and VBA, or Visual Basic Scripting language, into it. And I think to this day, most browsers will do both.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Because I stopped a long time ago with Visual Basic, and I never actually returned to that.
Well, I kind of started with Visual Basic and stuck with it because, with the computers that we grew up with, the Commodores and whatnot, we all learned Basic. So you move into Visual Basic, and it obviously expanded the language hugely, but it also made the language simpler in some ways. If nothing else, no more line numbers. Yay, line numbers.
I used to like Go to 10.
So yeah, I mean that's really why I kind of stuck with Basic. I have made attempts over the years to learn C, then C++, then C#, and I never get more than, I don't know, maybe 80% of a basic course in the language learned, and then I get pulled away onto other tasks and never get back to it. So I can't say I'm a C programmer in any form, but I know little bits and pieces. I know enough to read it, but I don't know enough to write it. Java is another one that I have learned a decent portion of, but never enough to be able to say that I'm a professional at it. So.
Yeah, I did some work in Java. I didn't really like it too much. Also C#, I never work in C#. I mostly work in non-Microsoft technology. I don't like that. But I do like Microsoft Basic on Commodore 64. I do like that very much.
Yeah. You actually have been, I've watched some of your stuff. I don't get into programming as much at home anymore as I used to, so I haven't actively sought out a lot of your videos, but the ones I've watched, you did some pretty interesting stuff with Commodore Basic.
Yeah, well, I try to make it interesting, and I like to make a video with some sort of code that is kind of, a little bit magical, so you can see something new. And there is plenty of stuff to learn still in Commodore 64 Basic. I learn new stuff every day. So yeah, for me, that's kind of magical world in programming. Without that doesn't really matter that it's all language and everything else. I mean, we don't use it professionally anymore, but in the sense that you can learn something new, it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, Rudy, I wasn't a big fan of Java when I was learning it, and I think most of it wasn't the base structure of the language itself. It was how you had to do the user interface. I didn't care for the different libraries for the user interface and how you had to. I just didn't care for how you had to build it. I was always more comfortable with, say, a Visual Basic where you just drag and drop controls onto the screen and you got an interface. So
yeah.
Yeah, Marcus, Python is a big one that's up and coming, and I really need to learn that one because if I got proficient with Python, that would definitely help me in the job market.
Yeah, Python is easy. It's very easy, but then it gets complex very fast. When you start building with it, it can be really complex. But it's okay. It's really nice language to learn and to use.
Yeah,
and it's very large community as well, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
these days.
That one's one I see a lot. I see people wanting Ruby on Rails. I see that one quite a bit. R occasionally.
R is specific. That's
Yeah, I think that's why I'm not seeing it very often. It does pop up in the occasional job posting, but not very often.
Yes, it's mostly scientific work, I presume. But yeah, these days is more JavaScript type programming language, like and platforms like Node.js and what's that, Angular and React and those sort of things.
Yeah, the last time I had a stint of being unemployed, I took some online courses and got pretty good with React.
Yeah,
because that builds on top of my JavaScript and TypeScript.
Yes,
I already know.
Makes sense.
So,
yeah. Right.
But I didn't get a job in that, and if I had, I probably would have been able to say that I have professional experience in React, and that would help me get a job now. But since I ended up getting a job in RPA instead, now I've forgotten everything I learned in React.
Yeah, that's usually the case, and I don't know, when I occasionally look for the job ads, and they request all sorts of palette of programming languages that and you cannot know all of them. There is no way.
No, you can't even know all of one language these days.
Yeah, exactly.
I consider myself pretty much an expert in Visual Basic for applications, and yet I still have to go back, online, look up how to do this, that, or the other, because it's not something that's done frequently. Languages are so huge these days, especially if you include the libraries. They just this little brain doesn't have that much space in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's simply these days that's too much. You cannot know everything, and without Googling and searching and refresh your memory, no way.
Google saves a lot.
Oh yeah, that's it. I like C++ and Basic. Yes. Rudy Retro Intel says C++ and Basic. Yes, it's a nice combination.
Yeah, Marcus, the libraries definitely help expand any language, not just Visual Basic, but being able to make an API call to do something is wonderful. Now, I haven't programmed in the Mac environment, and I don't know if the libraries are as extensive over there, but definitely with Windows, all those exposed API calls can be a lifesaver. And assembly, yeah, I always meant to learn assembly. My first computer was a VIC-20, but I moved on to the TRS-80 color computer line, and I always wanted to learn 6809 assembly so I could program that, but I didn't have access to a lot of literature on it. My age, I didn't have money of my own to go out and buy books, and our library didn't really carry anything on that line of processors, anything they had at the time. Small town, Midwest United States. Our library might have had a couple of books on, the IBM PC line, 8088 processors, and that assembly language, but it was hard to find resources back in the day. We didn't have the internet to lay everything out at our feet. Now we do.
Yeah, well, I know assembly language, but I cannot say that I'm on expert level. There is so much more to learn. So yeah, actually, my first I didn't learn to program in assembly on Commodore 64. I actually learned to program in assembly. I don't remember anymore, but it was one of those microcontrollers. So at my job, they just gave me that microcontroller and they said, okay, there is some SPI protocol. You can try to program it and try to do something with it, right? So actually, I first wrote a compiler in the compiler compiler, and then SPI uploader for the microcontroller. I wrote that in C++. And that just pushed several opcodes to the microcontroller to power on the LED, right? So that was like my first start with the assembly language, and once I started it, I really like that. I really like that. It's so efficient, and when you achieve your goals with assembly, it's almost perfection. That's really something else.
I can see at least, I can understand at least that. I mean, I find it higher level languages are more like talking to a human being, and obviously assembler is more like talking to the machine. So in my experience, it's more complex to try to talk to the machine. So I can see why you get more satisfaction out of achieving your goals with assembler than you would with level.
I have to correct you. It's actually more simpler to talk to the machine through assembly, but it's harder to do some efficient work, like what you actually want to do. It takes more programming skills and more code to do it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking, because what I'm specifically thinking is dealing, for instance, with strings. And you're dealing with one character at a time, and you don't just put a string in a quote and you got it done.
Yeah, but actually conversation with the CPU is very easy in assembly. It's very simple, but you have to do a lot of programming to achieve, let's say, to print out hello world on the screen. It takes a lot of code to do that. Yeah. And you have to know what you're doing. It's not just print this and that's it.
Yeah, and I think you don't get I don't think you get as good feedback, at least not as much as the modern languages. You type something into Visual Studio and Visual Basic, and if you've made an error in your line of code, it'll point that out to you. Assembler, you've actually got to code it, run it and see what happens, and you might or might not get feedback that tells you what you know specifically.
Yeah, actually, assembly language is debugged once it's compiled. So you compile it, you run it, and you debug it.
Yeah.
So you cannot do it. I mean, you can. I mean, syntax and stuff like that. But really, in assembly, you can do whatever you want. So there is no software that will tell you, well, you did something stupid here, because it's fine. The CPU will do it, whatever you plan to do, whatever you tell it to do. So yeah, it can be difficult and complex. Yes.
Try to write to the ROM, and it'll let you do it.
Yep, no problem.
You just won't accomplish anything, but it'll let you try.
Yeah, exactly. So Zero Fine need money projects. A bit. Okay. I can use.
Yeah, Mark. My path was Atari 2600 to VIC-20 to TRS-80 Color Computer Model 1, then Color Computer Model 3, and then my first XT compatible. It was not a true XT. It was one of the knockoffs. So that was my path as a kid.
I started with an Ace-Tronic MPU 1000.
I
don't know that one. I think it's a UK only, I think.
Yep.
I've actually just managed to get a hold of one not long ago. I've got one up the attic now to look at in a future video.
Since he's not on here, I'll tell you guys, I finally got an Amstrad.
Have you? Well done.
It's going to be coming up, and I don't even know if it works yet. I don't have I'm waiting on a video lead coming over. It got from the UK. It's in Chicago right now, so I should have it in a few days. But till then, I'm not even sure if the Amstrad works. It's a CPC 464. Physically, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. I think the tape drive
will work.
But yeah, I'm gonna pop that out in one of my videos and send Lee into spasms.
Lee loves them, doesn't he, secretly? He just won't admit it on air.
Well, I think compared to the other machines that were out at the time, they were at least competitive, if not in some ways better. I mean, they were definitely superior to a lot of the stuff that Sinclair brought out, and for good reason, because Sinclair was trying to, make everything inexpensive. Mm-hmm. But the CPC 464 had a proper keyboard. The ZX81 had a sticker.
Is he okay?
Hey, about 15 minutes to go, guys. Check the WhatsApp and see it.
Well, I've had this delivery from Poland anyway. That's the
your video chip for your Jaguar.
The Jaguar video encoder chip, yeah. £27 each on eBay.
Well, at least it's not a VIC-2. Those
I got 3 for £4 from Poland and waited.
Well, I hope you find that they're genuine. That's the only problem with when you see a deal that's too good to be true. It might just
they look good.
Yeah, I've seen some knockoff MOS chips that look good.
Yeah, I suppose so. Let's see. I'm not even sure whether that's a problem, but I'm just clutching at straws with that Jaguar.
Yeah.
There's just not much information online about them or anything.
Well, you know, I think they came out here in the States, but I don't remember any of my friends that ever had one. So
No.
they didn't sell very well here.
My cousin had one, I remember, but that was the only one I ever saw in the wild.
I'm just thinking, you know, the lack of a lot of sales is probably why you're not finding a lot of information, because they're just
exactly, yeah.
You know, there's somewhere between 17 and 30 million Commodore 64s out there, so there's plenty of information online about Commodore 64.
Definitely. Yeah, he's got a Jaguar. Evil has.
Oh, yeah?
But it is work, so.
Yeah, Evil. Neil's been fighting with one he got for a while.
This one.
He can sometimes see the video behind static, but most of the time it's not producing video for him. Sometimes it did pop up a couple times though, didn't it?
It's sort of like it's sort of like those old horror movies, isn't it, where you get the image in the background of the fuzz. That's it. But you can't get anything on composite, nothing at all. Even from the composite signal that's supposed to come off the RF, there's nothing there. So we made me think this chip's got the encoder chip, because the RGB goes into that chip and then that puts out the composite signal.
Mm-hmm.
That's my way of thinking. But let's see.
Well, you know, I'd ask if you had scoped the RGB or the composite signal, but I know you're just getting used to your scopes. So.
I did manage to get the RGB signals, but the composite signal I couldn't get from anywhere. So that's what made me think again, maybe that chip has gone.
Could be.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Anyone have a Spectrum? Well, I live in the States, so they're hard to come by for me. Now, Steve did promise me that he was going to send me one, but he's never asked me for my address, so I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, that's what happened to Jaguars. They actually got sold to a dental company and they got used as a dental computer in dentists. That's what was left of them. They were white ones, apparently. Didn't you have a Timex? Wasn't that like the Spectrum you said?
Timex, okay, they first brought out the Timex Sinclair 1000, which is the one I've been doing on my videos. That is a direct, it's the exact same thing as the ZX81 with just Timex branding on it. They did then come out with a Timex Sinclair 1500, which I think is just an upgraded 1000. And then they came out with the Timex Sinclair 2068, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. And that one is supposed to be a clone of the original Spectrum. I don't remember whether it's a Spectrum 16 or a Spectrum 48, but it comes in a different style case, so it doesn't look like the Spectrum. But yeah, so we did have, and honestly, the Timex computers were never that popular over here because, at the time we did have the Commodores and whatnot. They came with more than 1K. Actually, the Timex Sinclair 1000 came with 2K, but the other computers that came with more than 2K of memory and black and white and like I said, a sticker for a keyboard, and so they never sold very well here.
No, I never actually heard of them until I saw your video, to be honest. Something I never heard of.
Yeah, Evil, it was hobbled with the 2K. Though, honestly, I've seen some programs that take the best advantage of it. The problem is, the problem obviously is that 2K holds both the video memory and the user memory. So the more program, the more you start to bump up against the video, and you don't. But they found ways around it. They had some okay programs that were released for it, and even to this day, people are still releasing programs for it that make use of the 2K or even the 1K in the original ZX81. But it does get a lot more usable when you add a 16K upgrade to it. Just that little cartridge thing on the back was so wobbly that if you were typing away at a program with your 16K cartridge attached and it shifted just wrong, it would hang up or crash and you'd lose all your work. So much better to do it with the upgrade internally. And it was fortunate that when they designed that circuit board, they designed it with the possibility of putting that larger socket in there, and then you could put in the case of the Timex Sinclair 1000, you could put in the 2K, or with a little bit of bodging with some additional address lines, you get the 16K internal with a 6116 chip in there. Yes, membrane keyboard. Membrane keyboards glued to the top of the case. A sticker. I have seen a mechanical keyboard for the ZX81. What I don't understand about it is how do you mount it? You'd almost have to put it in a custom case to use it. And the 400, Atari 400 was the same way, just a flat membrane. I am desperate to get my hands on an original Atari 800, the big brother to the 400. But I wouldn't have a 400, I don't think, if you paid me to have it. That keyboard is just pathetic. I had friends when I was a kid that had them, and I just hated those keyboards. The first pet, I thought, I could be wrong, but I thought had a chiclet keyboard. And Rudy, I think the mechanical keyboard I saw for the ZX81 would work for the 1000. I mean, they were physically the same design. The only difference was between the 1000 and the ZX81. The only difference on the keyboard were that whereas the 1000 had a delete key, the ZX81 had a rub out, and the enter on the 1000, I believe, said new line on the ZX81. So if you find that keyboard that I saw, I don't remember where I saw it, so I can't direct you, but if you find that keyboard that I saw for the ZX81, it would probably work. And there's Steve. All right, let me get you added in here. Hey,
how you doing?
We're good. We're just chatting and killing time. We got 5 more minutes till we start this thing.
It's running live. It says so at top down on the screen, mate. He says you've been on for 150 minutes, apparently. What happened to me?
Well, I joined an hour early to make sure you guys would have time to join in and make sure that you could hook up.
All right, okay. No problem, no. How is everybody? All right?
Yeah, good, thanks, yeah.
You got your lucky ink shed yet?
Yeah, look. Do it yourself extension lead for now till the electrician comes around.
No more pushing wires over the socket and pushing them in with the plug them. Yeah.
Do you know what I used to do that as a kid?
I know we did.
Yeah, I asked people about it and they said, we didn't do that. I said, you're the first person who's mentioned it to me. I used to do that all the while,
Yeah.
especially for testing things.
It was really nice when they introduced that safety factor where they had that bit of plastic on it right up by plug so you didn't get your fingers around it anymore. Tickled a bit, did that.
Yeah, he has got a cool banner, I must admit.
What's that?
Your Commodore 64 banner behind.
Oh, this is a big towel, actually. It's if you notice, it's just a towel.
If you go to comments now, they're showing up now.
Cool.
We can't type into them. We have to type through YouTube. We found out, but
yeah.
Commodore PET's popular in the UK. I've not actually seen one.
Yeah. There's plenty about in UK.
Is there? Right.
Yeah, I had one into repair, but it was only early days of repairing, so I didn't really know much about the pets and stuff like that. So I ended up letting them take it back, if you know what I mean. But it just felt above me because I thought it were in the CRT side of things, and I don't like
lots of
CRTs.
voltage. So, yeah, Commodore PETs are before my time.
You sure?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm only young.
So that's subject to rumour, yeah? How do you get on with your Jaguar?
I've not done anything yet. The chip's here. The Jaguar's there. I can do it live now if you want. Watch it blow up.
Oh, it's got two choices.
It's going to work or it's not.
That's it. It's going to work or it's going to give you smoke.
Exactly. Or it could just be false chips, like Todd said.
Could be. How did you get on with that one at live stream, Todd? Did you finally suss it?
The live stream machine, yeah, it was. I don't know whether there was a 374 in a 74 LS 374 in my 373 drawer, or whether I opened the wrong drawer, but I put the wrong chip in.
Oh yeah, easy done, isn't it?
Yeah,
easy done.
It was a relatively easy fix. The first thing I did when I went back to it was swap out the VIC-2 socket because that was one of those old Commodore crappy sockets. That didn't fix it, so I started tracing out address lines, and that's how I found it.
Yeah, generally, if you get characters and stuff like that, I've found that before. If you did your NTSC conversion, didn't you? I did one before as well, and in that video in there, it explains that that's what I got at some point. Dead tests and everything were running fine, no problems at all. But as soon as you went back to basic, you had all garbly text on your screen, which you thought were character ROM.
Yeah, I traced out the address lines and was the schematics, and I figured out that not only were the characters not there, but the colors were wrong too. That on the diagnostic you have that border, that red border around the bottom section.
Yeah,
those characters weren't red, so I knew that it had to be the addressing for both the character ROM and the color RAM.
Yeah,
and the only place those were really common was the 74 LS 373. So I took that out, tested it as a 373, and it failed. And I took a look at it and saw it was 374 written on the top. So,
well, at least you found it in the end.
Yeah.
How's Josip? Are you all right?
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Good, mate. And do you have a look into that cartridge anymore?
Oh yeah, you got me hooked there. I was actually working on completely different video, and then I spent when you show me that, and I start to playing. It's fantastic. I'm definitely going to make a video about that. That's what.
Yeah,
Good.
that's true
That's
about
nice.
the kit numbers on the live stream.
I'm just not sure how it's actually pronounced because it's micro with the K.
Yeah.
It's not with the C. So
Still micro.
Still micro. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Marcus. Sorry, you were right. It was U26. You know, the truth of the matter is, though, if we hadn't suspected U26 at one point and I swapped it, it wouldn't have got messed up. But because we suspected it and I swapped it, that's where the problem came in. Guys, it is 2:30, so we can officially call this a go at this point. We're still missing Lee. He stepped away and hasn't come back yet. But
he's searching for a T-shirt.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but
yeah, you missed it, Steve. He was shirtless on the whole first part of this. So I'll go ahead and open it up. I don't really have anything big myself. I did watch the retro show, Parafractic and Lady Fractic's show yesterday. If none of you watched it, you might want to hop over there and offer them some congratulations. Lady Fractic is a few months pregnant.
All right.
So
that's nice.
That's about all the news that I have, I think.
Cool, yeah. They're a nice couple, them, to be fair.
Yes, they are.
I've spoken to Chris quite a bit before. But yeah, it's stuff that he's done in his history and things like that, him being in Star Wars and there's all sorts. I think, and Lady Fractic has as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
So they've followed pretty much a similar kind of lifestyle as have been coming through the years. But yeah, they're an absolutely star of a couple. I like his show and I like what he does.
I'm a little curious. The last show before this one, he finally got hold of a true replica kit, Knight Rider kit car. Had it shipped over. I think he had it shipped over from Britain. Someone over there had it, and he bought it. Now I find out his wife is pregnant, and I'm wondering what kind of money this guy makes to be able to afford a replica kit and a kid.
So which one is going to
be
which
more
expensive?
And which one's going to be first to go?
I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be on eBay next week.
Yeah, it will.
That was pretty much my comment to him on the video.
Well, Steve, I think a lot of us have exhausted our topics of discussion in the first non-hour. So, if you have anything you want to talk about, please feel free to jump in.
Or if somebody wants to comment for us to discuss.
Yeah, what have we got in the comments? We've got
nothing.
Oh, you, Marcus, thank you. I appreciate that, and I will do another live at some point. Since he's not here, maybe I'll say it. I might do a live on the Amstrad.
Yeah, what is everybody working on?
Yeah.
I'm just I'm gonna go back to, I've got that little ZX81 that came to me in such a trashed condition. I'm going to try to put it back together. I think that's my next project. And then I do have, I mentioned it to the other guys, Steve, you weren't on yet, but and since Lee's not back, I did receive I bought a Amstrad CPC 464.
But Captain Commodore's not here. You want to wait for him to announce this?
I'm going to surprise him with the video.
I want to see his face.
I haven't been able to test it yet. Like I told him, I'm still waiting on a video lead to get here. Yeah. I was worried about it because it went through the Heathrow Worldwide Distribution Center in Langley near Slough, And I read online at some point last year, packages going through there were taking months and months to get where they were going.
And that's when you were on strike, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, crap, I'm never getting my lead. But it made it to Chicago, so I should have it within a week.
Yeah, because generally they're a special cable, aren't they? Normally you get the CRT with it, the monitor with it, and that powers the actual CPC itself.
Yeah.
So I think if you get that lead, it's got like is it like a double, a male and a female power on it. So you plug one in and then your power goes in the other.
Yep.
You pick your sound up from the other side as well, like you used to do with the Spectrum Plus 2 early ones.
I think the sound comes from the 6-pin connector, so I don't think I have to.
He didn't find his t-shirt.
No.
He's frozen.
Go on, Lee.
Go on, Lee.
Yeah, Marcus.
What it is? Sorry, go.
They do try to make their videos as upbeat and positive as they can, I think, and that's where you're getting that sense that it's a bit saccharine. So yeah, there is that, and I think he's had people comment about that to him because when he did the video a while back where he actually managed to finally build a completely new from new parts C64, he mentioned some of his feedback that he'd been getting, and I think that was one of the things he talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think what a lot of it is it's his English humour. It's like slapstick humour, isn't it? You know, but
Exactly.
sometimes a lot of your side of the pond anyway don't get the UK humour.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there too. I'm at an advantage because I've been watching British humor since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
I grew up on Monty Python, so I'm used to what you guys do, and I don't see it the same way as I think a lot of Americans do. You're right.
so we'll take mick out of each other, or you know,
Take the mick out of everything.
just for a laugh, don't we? You know, we don't mean it offensively, but when you do that to your friends over on the other side of the pond, that is offensive, isn't it? If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I was just watching a few episodes of Roast Battle UK this morning. I've seen them before, but it was just killing time. And the way they roasted each other, it wouldn't fly in the States. And we had Roast Battle here, but it was definitely not as as harsh as the UK version was. And he's got a t-shirt.
Is he back? There you go. Oh,
Yep.
He's gone again.
What it is because you know he's not staying on long enough, so we don't see all Amstrads piled up in the back corner.
Is he coming back again?
Yep.
This was all working earlier. I go and have
There
something
you go.
to eat, and it's all fell over.
What about plans?
Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Marcus wants to know if you've got pants on, Lee.
Oh, do we want to know? To be fair, have you not heard us?
Oh, what's happened again?
Is he still?
I think he's
Is he
gone.
having internet issues?
Yeah.
Looks like it. Turn it on and off again.
Turn the Atari off and fire your Amstrad up.
Everyone's
back now.
frozen.
No, you're
No,
not.
you're
You're
back again.
Now he's back.
You're back.
I'm gonna have to reboot this machine.
There you go.
It's just lost its crumpets.
Knowing him, he's probably trying to do this through the mister.
Yeah.
doing all right for a Pi Zero. So nobody got out coming up then?
I've got lots of stuff on the go. I've got this SNES here. I found out what this was for. Did you know?
What's that? Can't see.
On my video, this here that comes off on the SNES.
Right.
It's an early version board, and apparently they didn't have the sound chip on the board because due to heat issues, so they put it separate.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Had to Google it.
Yeah, they're quite rare, to be honest. I think I'm not rare in as in expensive wise. But I think I've seen one bit like that, and it made
I've
you think.
never seen one. I opened it up and I thought that's different.
Yeah, without a doubt. Is he up again?
Hey!
Yeah.
My machine fell over.
We taking all your hamstrings out of shot.
Yeah. Oh, gee, it was all working perfectly earlier.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's good.
Well, here's Rudy's thought as to what was going on for you.
Yeah. Oh dear. So, what are we talking about then?
Well,
Current projects.
We're just sort of going around and talking about what we've got going project-wise. You're up.
Wow. Now, I've got loads of them, and I've just got to find the time to start them. I've got a couple of arcade PCBs that are needing some TLC. I've just got some PCBs for the post for some S-Drive minis for Atari XLs or XEs. I've got loads of bits and bobs that I just got to do and I just get round to.
Yeah, that's always the case, isn't it? Finding time to do everything.
It is, to be fair. Yeah,
I look on my desk now. I've got 2 SNESes in pieces. I've got an Amiga 600 under there, a Jaguar, and Atari behind me.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's just on my desk.
1581 that I still haven't finished off yet. I'll play with that drive. I've got the SX64 that I still haven't had a chance to finish off yet. I've got Atari STE. I've got 2 Space Helmet televisions, big Space Helmet ones. They're really smart to check over. I've got a 1084S that's decided to have lines that go across the screen like that at the top. And then I've got all that storage hall stuff to start going through. So
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot. But it's been nice to have do that. Especially with stuff in there with the Atari XE and XL. I've never had one of them.
They're right.
Yeah, well, I think what are they like? What's the XE and to the XL? What's the difference?
It's all internal. The graphics, the sound is all the same.
So it's no different at all, really.
No, the XE's got a bit better video quality.
Yeah.
Like in the enhanced version, is it like the STE was?
No.
No?
It's just like a rebrand when they went from that weird sort of cream and brown, and then they went over to the ST type styling, you know?
I remember, yeah. Like the funky coloured buttons.
So basically, like the XE, sorry. Yeah, the XE and the XL, then it's the same thing. It's just different shell and branding.
Pretty much. There's a few other minor changes, but not much.
Yeah.
You got more RAM in an XE. You get 64K.
Yeah. 3D printers, I think we've all got made a lot of
Don't even start with 3D printers. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I've got a resin printer now. I did have like a filament printer, but I gave in with that because it was a lot of work to try and get them working all the while.
It's like lighting Bluetooth paper sometimes and standing back, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I had the Delta ones. You know the Delta ones that come down with the 3 arms.
Oh yeah.
Move funky. They look really cool to watch, but like I say, I got fed up with that anyway. But I've gone to resin now because I do the little miniatures as well. But they're messy, aren't they, resin? That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I did the resin once. I've got a brand new printer, and I did it for that for the keyboard I done for the mechanical keyboard for the Atari.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a faff!
It is a mess.
You notice that I am watching the language this time, but you just can't.
That's it. That's a Slimer printed on my resin printer.
That come out all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For like stuff like that, they're great.
Well, I decided to get a Voron or Voron or whatever you want to call it kit, and it's a 0.1, and it is just I've had nothing but grief with it, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I know what I mean. I had. Do you remember the original A8s that came out in kit form?
Yeah.
I had one of them. It took me about 4 weeks to get print out of it.
Yeah. Is that the one with a plastic frame?
That's it. Yeah. My wife lost me for 4 weeks in the shed trying to get one print out. I was so happy when I printed a little benchy out. I thought it would just be put it together, click print, off it goes. No, it wasn't.
I think Josip's been having some better luck with the printers.
Has he?
Me? Yeah.
Yep, you.
I'm trying to write a comment to 3VIJ, but I can't.
Evil J.
Evil J. Okay, sorry. So yeah, it's very handy to have 3D printer indeed. So I kind of like it, but there is always some kind of problem with those. But it's fun, definitely fun. So
Yeah,
go for it.
You gotta have a lot of patience to own a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not something you just get out of the box, are they, and off you go. I mean,
no.
My only experience with 3D printers was the Ender 3 Pro that I bought a couple of years ago. And to be fair, I got that out of the box, built it straight up, leveled bed to best as I could probably do on my first attempt at leveling a bed. And it came out all right, actually. I was quite surprised.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
I was quite shocked. But it's only when you start doing bigger things and it doesn't stick to plate properly and a corner curls up and, or something collapses at top
jam.
And it's all gone messy on top of it. And, that's all. It's just a whole learning curve, isn't it? You've got to just get one and get on with it and learn why things have gone wrong and not as you're going along. So it's one of those winging things, isn't it? Where you've just got to buy one and wing it. So
Good at that. What about you, Todd? You got a printer?
I have just a little cheap Ender 3, not the Plus, just the Ender 3, and I've done a couple of small prints on it. I did when I built my bench Commodore power supply that I keep on the bench to use while I'm working. I bought a shell for a case for the thing, but the end pieces were aluminum, and if I wanted to use them, I would have had to cut the aluminum, which was a pain. So I ended up doing my best to model out a couple of end pieces for that, and they turned out pretty well. And I've done a blanking plate for a half height 5 1/4 inch slot on PC machines, and I did 3D print one case for a replacement Commodore 64 power supply that I was building. So I've done a few things, and I've had a few things go horribly wrong. I've come back, they take so long to print. You never sit there and watch them. Obviously, it's hours on end. I've gone away and come back to that pile of spaghetti.
Yeah, that's always fun.
You usually get half a print, don't you? And then you get pile of spaghetti on top of it. Good fun. I've printed all sorts. Our lass's daughter, she's into Harry Potter, so I did the Harry Potter village, complete village that filled the whole bed. Did that, and I did it in that rainbow effect, so that looked quite good. What else have I done? Harry Potter wands. I've done that octopus.
Yeah,
the dragon. Brilliant stuff is that. What other one have I done? I've done another one, but I haven't sorted it yet. It's just like a little tower top, what you see on top of a tower, if you like. And then when you twist it, it twists. It's got gears in the bottom of it. It all twists the poles, and the top pieces turn out. So you've got a pocket inside, so you can twist the bottom, and all the top pieces go back into a dome shape. But I haven't freed it all up yet. But I will at some point. But they are clever stuff, especially when you can sort of 3D print a gearbox in one piece and not have to do it. You know, it's amazing what you can actually get your hands on. I mean, if you were going to do something bespoke like that, where do you start? I mean, we know we can go to PCB way now, but you know, but before we knew about PCB way, what would you actually do if you wanted something like that?
Exactly, you didn't.
Who would you go to? It'd be something you'd have to model, wouldn't you, and make it yourself somehow. You know,
something like what?
Anything like bespoke 3D prints. I mean, it's bespoke, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can't really just go out and buy something like that off a shelf.
What's the worst component in your experience to have change out in a retro computer? That's a difficult one.
To be fair.
No.
I can tell you what's the worst thing on a Mini.
I can tell you what that is. It's the 64-pin Super PLA at the a later revision 64. They're an absolute pig to get out.
Partly because they're just a pig, and partly because I've never done one, but assuming it's because of the smaller dot pitch or the pin pitch rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the I haven't done one of these either, but I think the 99,000 and the TI 99 is the same. It's got a smaller pin pitch on it. If you have to do one of those, and it even does. I think if I remember right, watching one of Adrian's videos when he was doing one, he bought a socket that was supposed to be for it, and it didn't even fit the socket that was supposed to be the right pin pitch for it.
See, I don't find, because I worked on Apples and reballing stuff like that, I don't find these that bad at all working on retro stuff. I much prefer it, because trying to reball these new chips nowadays, that's a pain.
I was going to say, when you said retro, if you want a class Xbox 360s as retro,
exactly, reballing one of them.
Reballing one of them, they were not just a reball work, they were a ball ache work.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
But the result
was good, wasn't it, when they went to them?
Yeah, I mean, the results were good. Once you've done it and put leaded solder balls under that chip and put it back on board, you never get red ring again.
Using the stencils, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I've still got them all,
like doing the SMCs on the MacBooks, you have to re-stencil them and they're a right pain.
Yeah, agreed. So like I said, for me, it'd have been reballing the graphics.
I agree with that, yeah.
In my experience, I would say it doesn't really have to do necessarily with the mechanical aspect of doing it. I mean, that can be a challenge, but I like a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What bugs me, what I have the most trouble with replacing in a retro machine is the more expensive chips. You know, if I get a bad SID or a bad PIC2, that kills me just because, you know, that's a lot of money to put out to repair a machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree on that as well.
That's how it is, unfortunate. You end up paying like 50 quid for another unit, and it turns out it's somewhat easy fix, and you fix that one and another one. You never end up chasing them. So at some point, some boards have to go to the graveyard, unfortunately.
CRT, who's there?
I think Marcus wins that one.
Exactly. I remember working on, yeah, exactly. I remember working on CRTs in the past years back. It was always scary because you had to adjust them, didn't you, when you were turned on? So if you didn't go in straight with your screwdriver to reach them pots,
you got a tickle.
Yeah, a bit of a tickle, yeah. Yeah.
I always used to use
I agree with that.
I used to use 2 screwdrivers to discharge them. Wedge one under the cap and one on the frame. Just go crack. Big old flash.
Crazy.
Wonderful things.
Oh, I did a Vectrex. I did my Vectrex. What I tell you, the motherboards in them are like a digestive biscuit. They're terrible. And go in there at your risk. Horrible machines.
Madoff, I don't usually look too closely to figure out the answer to that question. I don't think I've noticed any of the ones from the Repairathon having been made in Canada. I could be wrong about that. I'd have to go back to the original, the Part 0 video where I inspected them, because that's where I looked at the tags on the bottom of the case. And of course, 3 of the ones that I didn't even have cases, so I'm not sure where they were made. And I would imagine they were using whatever revision motherboard the rest of the company was using at the time. I don't think there was a case. I could be wrong, but I don't think there was a case where one regional unit was making different boards than another regional unit. So
I think they all made the same, didn't they? So if you got a board from China, it was made in China. You got it from UK or wherever you got it from, it was still made in China.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's the same over in America, that they even American plants were probably making PAL machines and shipping them over to Europe. We just don't know, do we? So much of a cocktail with the C64s. You just got bits from anywhere and used what they could to build them anyway.
That was Commodore in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's why we got the orange keys in the early C64 bread bins, because the keyboards were used from the VIC-20.
The only thing that I can think of, Marcus, that might be different in Canada and the US would be, of course, the FCC regulations about the RF shielding. And I know that's different between the US and Europe. We had all that extra. We had all that extra cardboard painted silver in ours that they didn't have over there. So
that's what we have, to be fair, most of the time.
Do you?
Yeah. Bins, it would just cardboard over the top of it. Most of the C's did. Some of the C's had a shielding that were in it that incorporated the keyboard mounts in the C's.
Right.
And I think like the 466 boards that were in the early C's, some of them had a metal shield on top, but some of them didn't. Like I said, it's just what they could get their hands on, couldn't they? If they could get their hands on a paper shield, that went in. If they could get their hands on steel ones at the time, that went in. It's just to get shut of obsolete stock. And that's what they did, isn't it?
I had that little fork that used to slot into the cartridge port to hold it down.
Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's what they did. But hey, well, at least we got those machines.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Ontario, she says.
What?
So I'm just reading a message, so I was reading it out loud. So in Canada, I think FCC regulations were the same. Retro Brighton.
Here we go.
Retro Brighton. Funny you should say that, because I know Neil just done
There's one I did earlier.
I've been thinking of doing one for absolutely months, which I've done one now. I've stripped down the system, cleaned all the keys, ready for Retro Brighton, and today it's overcast and cloudy. So that's the end of that. I'll have to do it tomorrow. I think you're thinking of doing one as well, Todd, aren't you?
Yeah, I posted a poll, and it seems that most people want me to do one, even though there's tons of those videos out there. But I'll do one for them. Recently, I have been the 5 machines from the Repairathon that had cases. I've done a few of them. I haven't done all of them yet, and they've come out pretty well. I like the results when you do retro brighting, as long as you don't end up with that unfortunate marbling effect. But as for the longevity of it, that's a question that I really don't have an answer to, because I don't have that many that I've done the retrobrighting and then had a lot of time pass to see if they were.
Well, the way I look at it on that side of things, we're doing that. I've done retrobrighting for quite a few years, probably about 5 or 6 years, and the stuff that I've done is still just as good as it was when I retrobrighted it. But what you've got to look at is, we know it's the bromine that's in the plastic that gets pulled out over time, but it's taken 30 years to pull that bromine to the surface. Okay, it might be at the now. You've just bleached the top by doing that, and it may come back in 15 years. But if it comes back in 15 years' time, it comes back in 15 years' time. You just get retrobrighted again.
Well,
I don't know.
I have machines that I retrobrighted, and the yellowing come back returned. Not in the same intensity, right? But it gets returned in around year or two. And exactly staying in the closet. I have 2 machines in the closet, and they're both yellow now.
Well,
the same is dark areas that cause it.
Yeah, I don't know what.
That's strange, because the stuff that I've done, they've all remained good, but I've got them out visible and not stored away or anything. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's when
I was thinking just take those machines and take it outside a little bit on the sun, not on the bright sun, just a little bit outside to refresh it. So a couple of days, maybe that will help without actually using any chemicals or anything else.
Well, Marcus said about his C128, and I did that last year, and I took it out for sunny days all week, and it made no difference at all. It still looks like it's tangoed.
Yeah.
None at all.
What method do you use?
Just the sun.
Just sun, yeah.
It did nothing.
You're all right. You don't use any cream or anything or bleach.
No, I just took the C128 out, put it in the sun, did nothing. But
no, it won't do, will it? Because nothing to bleach it.
I've got 2 more upstairs that are in, those plastic containers with a lid.
Yeah.
I keep them sealed in there with silicone bags to keep them dry.
Same here.
Yeah. And they are almost brown. So they're airtight, but they've just been in the loft.
Yeah,
it's just a chemical process.
When you go in the loft, it come out brown. There you go.
Sorry?
He's got some examples, I think.
Oh, the Steve is bringing something.
So this is what I use. I use this stuff. See this? BB Blonde. And I've had no trouble with it. I've used it a lot on Game Boys, because I used to do a lot of work on Game Boys. As long as you put a lot of the stuff on.
I used something similar on my Atari ST, and I destroyed it. It's all marbles all over the place. I simply destroyed it.
I use that B Blonde on the keyboard for my U64 Elite, and that's just like Marble City.
Yeah, I found there's not really a good way to do the keyboard.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I use.
Exactly all I ever use.
No, I agree.
So I picked up this VIC-20 off a guy, and it was very yellow. This is probably about 5 years old now, but that's one of the cartridges that came with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the retrobrighted Vic.
Okay, that looks nice.
Yeah,
so that's probably about 4 or 5 years ago when I did that one. That's a G.
Yeah, I've got the
nice
between the 2 SNESes there. Look, we can't really see now because the light's crap in here.
When you curl it round, look, from the back round to the front, it looks like it's gone yellow. Look, can you see it?
Really good.
Just under that lip from there to there as you roll it round. But it's not. It's absolutely. It's cream. I absolutely love these G's. They're fantastic. Have you seen them in the flesh?
I've got one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. I don't know what it is, but I mean that mine's the version with the raised label and the little green power light on it. But it's full cream right across it. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish I'd have had one of them as a kid.
Rudy,
So
hope to
that
see
was my
you.
experience with doing the retro brights. I mean, I've done Amiga 1200s, I've done controllers, and they've never come back really, really rough or anything like that.
I'm
but it's
losing
gonna come
lots
back.
of signal now.
Who has?
What's wrong?
Mark,
Like that is signal going.
My experience has been pretty much the same as Todd's.
Up all the while, mine is. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to come back because the bromine's in the plastic, so it's got to come back.
Yeah.
You know, if it's taking 30 years to get to the surface and then we've just taken a layer off, then it's probably going to come back in some years to come anyway. We know it's going to come back.
Yeah,
but I'm saying it sends plastic brittle. That's a lot of crap. It's an absolute load of crap, is that? It's 30, 40-year-old plastic. It's brittle anyway. You know, it's not going to do much damage to it by putting a bit of cream on it.
Yeah, but we know that Commodore 64, Commodore company used whatever they can take to build these machines. So obviously the case during the lifetime, it can be different from series to series. They use for Big 20 and every other machines, and God knows what they came up with. So the chemicals, the ratio of the chemicals could be different in different cases. So maybe that's the case here.
It's like my first original C64 that I've got. There's no yellowing on it.
Yeah. Cool.
Never had to touch it. It still looks brand new to what it was when I first opened it up back in the day, and it's never changed. So it's like you say, it depends how much in the pot that factory put bromine in it at the time. You know, he might have got another factory in a train. He's got bromine in there, so he's put full bag in by mistake.
It's fine.
Yeah, well, we don't know. There's all them factors, isn't there?
Well,
yeah.
To bring up a machine that you guys really probably don't have any experience with, the TRS-80 color computer. The one that I had when I was a kid, I still have, and it stayed up in my parents' attic. No climate control. It stayed up there for about 30 years. When I got it out, it was almost pristine. There was almost no yellowing on it whatsoever. However, I have other TRS-80 color computers, and those cases have yellowed significantly. So you can't even say that in every case or in every situation, cases from the same manufacturer will obviously behave differently, because you couldn't have treated that color computer of mine worse than the environment that I stored it in for 30 years. So obviously those other ones that I've got that are worse off, you know, they might have been treated better than mine was and still ended up worse off.
Well, I've got a couple of C128s that are really, really orange to the point where they're nearly brown. But I've noticed that all the brown type computers I have, the C64, the Dragon, they've all really badly gone worse over the years. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a coincidence.
Neil's back. There you are, Neil. Sorry.
There's no problem.
I don't know how long
Still hear you.
Evil J, you hang them, then you shoot them.
Hang them. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Unquartered.
And you know what? You know what's even worse? I bet we can all put his hands up if his head. Who's done it?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't. I don't do that.
As a kid, you'll have done it. You'll have picked it up.
Yeah, I probably did a long time ago, but I'm very careful now to
with controllers all the way around.
to wrap the cord separately, and you know.
Yeah.
So they don't.
The only thing I did that to was when I was a kid, the Atari 2600 power supply.
I know what you're saying, Neil. But we did, didn't we? We just wrapped them round them, and that's how they ended up wrapped up like that, chucked in a box in loft, and then it just eats away, doesn't it? It eats away at the plastic.
Yeah, the 2600s, I got a 2600 like that through the post.
Yeah.
With the aerial lead wrapped around it.
Yeah. You see them sat in plastic as well, isn't it? In polystyrenes, and all you end up with polystyrenes fused into your bloody power cables.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Very strange.
I don't know if you guys across the pond have Bondo or not, but Bondo is this unknown substance that you can slap into, like on a car where it's rusted away and you cut away the rusted area. You can slap it in and form it, and it dries, and it becomes a pseudo replacement for the body panels in cars. That's what
Body filler we have, yeah.
P38.
Yeah, body filler, exactly, yeah.
Glass.
To mix the hardening with it.
Bondo.
Yeah.
Dad doing that one because my dad had his own garage and I grew up obviously not a trade like that. I remember him doing he was filling the car and he got this ball about the size of a tennis ball and wrapped it up and he went, "Here, play with that."
It used to be newspapers in first, didn't it? Into the cells.
It's what?
Remember that? You used to shove the newspapers into the cells first before you could fill them.
That's it.
Maidolf, no, I don't actually have any boxed. I have only naked machines. I have the box from my original Atari 2600 back in the day. I no longer have the Atari, but I still got the box from it. And I have I have the disk drive box from my TRS-80 color computer disk drive, the FD502. I have the box for that, but I don't have any Commodore boxes.
Recap everything.
Otherwise, what's it do? It goes over the board and destroys your board. Eats everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of the side of this that if it's the right generation caps, there was a generation in there where the caps were really good and really reliable over a long period of time. If it's those, I don't tend to recap them because obviously every time you desolder and resolder on the board, you're putting stress on the board. And I think the value in recapping those caps is less than protecting the board. Now, if there's some pretty crappy caps, or if they're already leaking, yes, I'll recap every time. Or if there's something going on, like if I'm getting interference in the video that I feel pretty confident that the issue is a cap, then I'll start recapping. Now, I may test as I go, and when the issue clears up, I may stop. But
well, there's a case with like Commodore with the CD32 where they put the caps on the wrong way in the first place. You have to correct that from the factory.
Didn't they do that in the Spectrum as well? They put a Spectrum cap the wrong way round. In the audio.
I think it was a Friday night. The guy wanted to go home. He just said, "Stick the positive on that side of the board. Let's go home."
Yeah.
Well, with the Atari ST, you got to pull apart 1,000,001 screws. You might as well recap it when you got it apart because you ain't going to want to take it apart again.
Yeah.
My experience with them, it really is. I found that the through-hole ones, the sort of barrel-shaped ones, and the axial caps, generally they're all okay. It's more the surface mount stuff in it that I said that were leaking more. I know you've done a video, Lee, on the other ones, and it shows you are going out of parameters, but it tends to be more the surface mount ones that leak. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, they leak.
The only other ones I can remember is the one in the original Xbox, the one that keeps the clock crystal going, keeps your clock and your BIOS settings and stuff like that, and your save game data. I think is it at the front? there's a cap on that as well. It's like a battery cap, super cap or something to call it. They leak and corrode all over the board. I haven't heard much more with them sort of style caps leaking too much, if you know what I mean. But it's generally the SMDs.
Yeah, because the ones. Sorry.
Go on.
You go. I was just saying the ones in the Game Gear are notorious for leaking. Every Game Gear I've had has been terrible inside.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I've got a couple of them still to do yet.
Yeah, they're terrible inside. They are.
Problem is, these machines are all mass produced, and they're all mass produced 40 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the caps, they've only got a limited life anyway. If they're through hole, then it's a doddle to change, except in a Vectrex. But any other time, I just change them out just as a matter of course. If I'm going in there to do some work, I might as well do the whole lot, so when I close it up, it's done.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But if anyone does go in to recap a Vectrex, don't. It's honestly, it is the worst experience you can imagine. The boards don't have vias; they use the caps to transmit between the two sides. So you've got to space your caps off the board by about 15 mil, so you can get your soldering iron in there and solder both sides of the board. Diabolical.
Right. I don't think I'll ever get a Vectrex, mate.
What a pain.
Lee, you have a point, because they didn't make these machines to last 40 years.
That's right.
We kind of push it right to keep them alive. So it makes sense to recap. But I myself, I don't do it so often. So I kind of hate to start recapping, because I don't know. So I have a couple of machines that I know that I need to recap, and because especially for Commodore 64, I see on the video that it's time to change the caps. But yeah, too lazy to do that.
Well, Marcus said reefer, and they used to put them in the BBC power supplies, and they were ultra garbage. The amount of power supplies that died because of them was laughable.
Yeah.
The BBC.
They need replacing as a matter of course.
Like the Samsung TVs, what did they have in that all went wrong that time? They had certain major caps in that always failed.
You're right with BBCs, because I mean the one I bought when I bought that as a non-working unit, that had a blown out reefer cap in it as well. I'm trying to think what other stuff have them in as well. I know the Commodore PCs do, the Colt, etc. and stuff like that. They have a reefer in the power supplies. But if you've got anything that's got a reefer in it, out, get rid of it.
Get rid of it
Instantly. If you see a reefer cap, get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know about the Samsung tellies, Neil.
No,
I've not worked on any of them.
There was a stage I always remember where all Samsung TVs were knackered caps, and they put it down to faulty batch. I wonder whether that's something similar. That's what
It might be.
Possibly.
I've not heard of that.
I changed quite a few. What's I going to say now? I'm soon to be a Commodore 64 owner anyway.
Finally.
I had to save up, mate, honestly.
Seen the light.
Well, somebody says here as well, I have had a Commodore 64, obviously. What do you do with the machines that you repair? Do you hold on to them, sell them, or give them away? I know 8-bit Retro ReFix, you give some away, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'm giving some away on my channel. I'll sell them on, some of them, a bit like the storage hall stuff. I'm not going to keep all them, and there were 5 Spectrum with the Toshibas and all sorts of stuff in there. So I mean, one of the Ataris I'll sell on. I don't know whether I'm going to restore it first or just let it go as it is, Obviously, we're having 2 bloody projects.
I know somebody is after an Atari 800.
Oh.
Off above me.
Well, yeah.
Todd.
I might have a think then. I'm thinking, because I don't know whether I'm going to keep the XE or not. So.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, mainly I do with mine is I keep ones that are of interest to me that I had when I was a youth. Like the CD32, obviously I won't get rid of that because it's got a lot, but I've got an A600 here. I won't keep hold of that one. That'll be sold on eventually if I ever get it going. I think going to have to reboard these. The A1200 and the A600 I've got. They've been too badly worked on before.
Yeah, it's a shame sometimes with that.
It gets to the point where you can tell people who worked on them before and they've done that much damage. You can put in wires, obviously, can't you, to repatch across and stuff, but it's not the same, is it? So I do think of doing. Have you ever thought of doing one of these boards again? Do you know, like you can get the Amigas and stuff?
I've done them.
You've done them?
Yeah, I've done the C64 466 board with the revision on the memory. I've done the 407 board. I've done the, I forgot the name of it now, 1581 board. I've rebuilt that one. I've not done, but I have got the full SX kit now. So for the SX complete board set. Hopefully that should be coming fairly soon. Rob did beginning of this year or early this year, but I don't know what's holding that up. I think there's a few testing things still left to do on it yet. I think he's sending me the FFD board up for me to test before we sort of. He says, yeah, we'll release them. So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing the VIC 20. I feel like doing that. Other than that, no, I think I've done what I need to do with the new boards.
Yeah,
12 task.
Yeah, like in my way, I can see the only way of saving that computer, other than getting over another board to transplant some bits over. That's the only way I can see of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back to, do we keep them or do we sell them on? Like the storage hall with the 3 Commodore 64s. I won't sell them on.
No.
There's no point. What am I going to sell? How much am I going to, if I sell a Commodore 64T, how much am I going to get for it? Put it on eBay, let's say 80 quid.
Yeah.
80 quid. How much is a SID?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not into these CC like you guys.
So I tend to, they'll get put into storage out of the way, and if the work is working, if another board comes in from it to repair it, and it's going to be, it's not just an easy chip, it's going to take hours for fault finding. Well, rather than charge that customer all them hours to fault find their board, I would put it to them that I can do a swap for X amount of pounds. So I'll put another board in for them, and then I will look at that board in my own pleasure time.
Yeah, because it's really good. Yeah.
And put that one back into storage to move on for the next person that wants it. So they're not really worth. Well, they are worth selling on, but they're worth a lot more in bits, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're doing repairs, then it means a lot more to you, you know. But yeah, if grandsons or granddaughters or like that ever come and said, "Can I have a Commodore 64?" I'll be like, "Yeah, you can have a mini." They love it. Lass's grandkids come. First thing he did, he says, "Can I go upstairs and play on 64?" When he's only about 7 or 8. You know,
that's really good.
When he was leaving last time, he wanted to play leaderboard, and I says, "I'll put it on for you, but it's going to be 10 minutes, you know, before you switch it off." He says, "No, I won't." And to be fair, I put it on for him, and I went downstairs and talking to our lass and her mum, and he come back down about an hour later. He's still been playing it. He says, when I come again, can I play that leaderboard again? You know, you know what I mean? So it's nice to introduce the young generation into this stuff. We've got to keep that nostalgia ticking over somehow, haven't we? You know.
I agree. It's like when I first started the Atari downstairs in 2600 with a paddle. My 17-year-old lad came down. He'd never seen anything like that, and he went, "What's that?" I said, "It's a paddle. You use it to move the thingy on the screen." And he went, "Nah, that looks stupid," he says. Next minute, I called downstairs. He's playing on it for about an hour like this. Transfixed on it, trying to beat my score. I said, "You said it was stupid." He said, "Actually, it's quite good."
Got to bet that when you get that Commodore 64, you want to sit down one night, get a manual for it, and just sit down with him and go, "Right, we're gonna do something now," and just write something.
Yeah.
You know, even if it is "Hello World," use a poke statement to change border colour. Just let him see what you can actually do, and you'll watch his eyes light up and be like, "Wow, you can do that."
Exactly. Yeah, that's the difference.
Try doing it on a PC.
Yeah. Exactly. Try doing anything on the PC.
Yeah. I mean, the books, the Commodore books, are so sort of rudimentary that they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love the Vic one. It's got all the little speech bubbles that come out going, "This is a cursor. It means it's ready." I love all that stuff in them books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, but they need to introduce this new type of interface to the people who didn't see anything before that. So
Exactly,
it kind
yeah.
of makes sense to explain every little details in there, no matter how funny that feels today. Having a cursor in TV, it was like, I don't know, amazing, something magical.
I agree.
Yeah. So it
It's like
makes sense.
even when you go into command prompt at work or something, people look at you as if you're a magician or something because you're there typing commands. I'm just doing the same as you can do in Windows, just a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about people who've never seen a rotary phone.
There you go. I've still got one actually in the house.
I've still got one plugged in my living room.
Yeah, we've got one as well. We don't use it, but it still works.
It's so funny. Broadband guy came to install, and he put broadband in. He went, "Can I just use your phone just so I can register this system in?"
Yeah, it takes you 3 hours down.
32-digit number he had to put in. And I went, "Yeah, sure, it's there." He went, "That's really good for you." And he went, I went, "Why?" He went, "Well, you can't use a call tray on that." I went, "I can." But yeah, it's nice when it sits in corner and you hear it ring. It gives you that nostalgia blast. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Should sit that little bad boy next to it, shouldn't I?
Oh, bloody hell.
That's nice.
Is that one of the Commodore calculators?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's nice.
No. That's no good. It ain't got those little red bubble lights.
Well, but what do you mean, little red bubble lights? Come on, where's cancel button? There we go. Did we do your stuff like that when we were kids? Boobs.
Boobs.
Boobless, yeah, that's what we used to do. I remember it now.
You seen him at work? I went to work one day and I took it with me, and someone went, "Can I borrow a calculator?" And I just went like that, and then they went, "Nah, you're right, I'll get another one."
Were you guys members of local computer? Actually, yeah, there I had it. This one. Usually computer groups at the back. There's supposed to be hobby groups, weren't they? But it was just one big copy fest with the Amigas.
Yeah.
You used to go there with 100 blank discs. You used to come on with 100 games that you never played. But I just used to collect loads of games.
So unfortunately, I was out of school around about 88.
Yeah.
So I mean, mine for me it was 64 games. You know, with swapping tapes.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah. Tapes.
Yeah. Or somebody would come with a brand new game and they'd go, if you can take a copy of that, will you do me 2 copies? So I just used to take it home and do a copy, especially one of the stuff like Jet Set Willy. You know, with that code card at the end of it when it first loads in, you go bloody G, page 20, and try and find bloody colours right on the end.
Yeah, I remember
freeze frame cartridge. If you press the button on it, wherever it loaded from, it loaded from when you froze it, so you never had to bother with that security card.
That freeze frame was brilliant.
Yeah, tried all sorts of things, didn't he? He had the one Monkey Island, the wheel. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Melbourne House games. You know, like the way of the exploding fist when it's starting to load, and then if it cocks up or out like that, it gets a white border.
It's Pavloader.
You find it a little bit, and then set it off again, and then it goes a little bit further, and you get white border.
Yeah, that's the Pavloader tape loader.
Yeah.
The border used to go different colours according to what fucked up.
That's it. So the freeze frame again got yourself around that, and that's again freeze frame. I used to use that as my save game option. when we were playing a game, you know, instead of leaving it switched on while you were at school because you couldn't do all else.
A guy had a freeze frame back in the day, but very soon he bought the final cartridge, and we all got one of them, and they were just incredible.
I've got one, but I've never really got into it like I did do with the action replays and stuff like that, you know, the freeze frame cartridges.
Well, the final cartridge, much like the action replay, that could blast it to disc at light speed. And a tape, I think, used to be able to load a game from, if I remember correctly, in less than 10 counts on the tape deck.
Nice.
Really fast.
Yeah, I used to have like a plug-in board that you plugged in back of the Commodore 64, I remember now, and you plugged in 2 data cassettes. Then you plugged in one, and you had the Woolworths tape in the other one, which was bright orange, remember? And you used to press, you used to play and record on the other one. You used to copy it. I can't remember what it's called. It's just a board that plugged in the cartridge port.
It didn't look like a wire, did it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and then you plugged in both 2 data cassettes.
Yeah, I saw someone with that. I think Daytel made it.
It might have been Daytel. You used to put the original game in one.
Yeah.
And then you recordable like cassette in the other one. Usually use Woolies ones. Do you remember the orange ones? That's what.
Yeah, just like piggybacking. Like, I've got a couple of them ones.
Yeah, I had a flashback. Yeah.
Has anybody had any use with or ever used the CD version from Codemasters on the Commodore 64?
Never.
No.
They did one for Spectrum as well, but I've never seen that. But I do have the disc image for that because I believe that the cable's the same cable. But yeah, I felt like doing that. All you needed was one of those little CD Walkmans that we used to have back in the day. Which I managed to pick one of them up at a car boot. It were £1, brand new, still sealed. So I was going to give it a go. If you've never seen one, I'll grab it and let you have a look.
That just loads it across an audio interface, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it used to go to 3.5mm jack, didn't it?
Yeah.
I remember seeing them in magazines. In Zap 64.
It loads through the joystick port.
Does it?
What?
Yeah. Does it go for an audio jack?
Into the CD player, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it did. I remember seeing them.
That's one end.
Yeah.
And on the other end, you've got stereo.
That was it. Yeah, clever.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that goes into your joystick ports. And you have a CD. And then you've got, obviously, the front end menu on tape. That was it.
Bloody hell.
I can keep the light off them or not. But
Is that all your Codemasters?
they're all the games that's actually on that CD.
On one CD?
Yeah. So I watched the program once, and it were apparently the stripped, you know. So like you got your lead in when it went and stuff like that. When you don't get that, it's all stripped back and hunched up. They've taken it through. I forget what they call it. What's that audio software they use? Audacity.
Yeah.
They had it in there and just done it. You can't even see it. Is it? No, I can't see it. So yeah, they hunched it all up. So when you're actually loading it, it loads really quickly.
Have you ever tried a tape cart?
Yes. And the ultimate beats it.
That's the fastest loading for a tape I've ever seen.
Well, you can do ultimate, can't you? Do it with DNA straight in. You
can load pack files in, but the tape cart uses TCRTs.
Oh yeah, yes.
Right, okay.
Where's that?
There he goes.
I'm looking for the setup.
We're lucky he's wearing pants.
One of those.
What's that?
Oh yeah, I have one of them.
How deep is it, Lee?
Does that work off an SD card then?
Oh, right, okay.
So you put an SD card in when it
Yeah.
done.
It's damn fast.
Yes,
Can you
they
send
are.
me something like that? In that goodie box.
It's what?
I thought he sent me something like that. He sent me a goodie box, Lee did, and it had all sorts of stuff in it.
No, that's not in there, but I did send you something that can clone tapes.
Yeah. What are these things? What's that?
That's a Kung Fu Flash cartridge.
Because it's got an SD card.
Yep.
Yes, that's pretty cool cartridge.
I made a batch of them.
And what's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a four-way ROM cartridge. It's got diagnostics, dead tests, 1541 test.
I've got all them in my drawer ready to play with when I get my C64.
The Kung Fu Flash is really cool.
Yes.
I'm going to send you 64 faults for you.
That'd be good.
They can send you some faulty chips if you want.
You made Pinnacle CD burner 2K. Jesus.
They were back in day, weren't they, when they first came out?
Oh, Buffer Underrun. Oh. CDR win.
Yeah,
CDR
technology.
Oh.
I got into burners when Pioneer came. When Pioneer, there was about 300 quid, I think, my first burner.
I think mine were a one-speed Pioneer, and that were about 600.
Yeah, I think it's 300 quid I got mine, and then I used to go around the pub selling them.
I used to have to put it in a caddy for mine.
Yeah.
And put the caddy in.
I remember them ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The good old days.
The good old days, yeah. CDR.
I think the most expensive thing that I had back in the day was a disk drive from a Commodore 128.
Yeah.
They were serious money. The 1571.
No, I had a 1541.
41. They were just as much as expensive as what Commodore 64 was.
Yeah.
To be fair. And that's why we never had one really in UK. It were all tapes, wasn't it, for us?
No, I got one, and it didn't last very long, and I had to get it repaired. It took about 6 months for me to get the money to repair it.
Yeah, they were a bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, I've got a pile of bloody 1541s now. There was all working when I put them away, but you don't know if they're still working or not now, the way the chips degenerate.
C64 floppy disk drive cost in the UK. I never bought one.
Floppy disk.
Too rich for my expenses.
I think they were around about 595 when they first came out.
I think the one I got was 499.
Yeah.
And that would have been 85, 86 maybe.
I bought my first 1541 in 2015.
We hold on well.
Everything with tapes for us. Tapes or cartridges were expensive.
The first disk drive I had was a Commodore one on the BBC B that I had.
Yeah, that's seen them at school with BBC's computers.
Exactly, yeah, because I had them at school, you see, and I had a BBC B. I managed to pick one up from a car boot, which was broken, but we took it to a computer shop to repair. And they repaired it.
On a BBC, you had to have a disk drive. Tapes were diabolical.
You've got the MMV or something called? Is it MMVC or something like that?
MMC.
That's the one. You just plug straight in back. You've got them all.
Yeah.
Everything there for it now.
I got one of them for mine.
Awesome bit of kit. You can use, what is it as well, can't you? You can use a Raspberry Pi Zero as an accelerator.
I've got the board and I've got the Pi. I've just not got round to doing it yet. It's just one of them things.
Yeah, that's if you can get hold of Raspberry Pi. They're like rocking all shit at home still.
I think I've got them all.
You've got them all. Is it? I've been trying to buy loads, but I can't get hold of one.
I've had all the Pis.
All right.
Yeah, I still need one for that one that you sent me across to check out. That I've forgotten what they call it now. That hat, that Pi hat that you said, it looks like a disc with LCD screen. I still haven't got a Raspberry Pi for that yet.
I think
they're doing them. You can buy them now.
Yeah,
I got 2 the other day.
Well, have you got any on shelf?
Somebody's saying he regrets getting rid of his original
I
Commodore.
use loads of them.
Is it a 3B plus that I need or something?
No, you can use just a regular 0 or a 3A will do. You don't need a 3B.
Right.
3A, that's the cheaper one. Yeah.
I've got all these bits and pieces that you sent me, and I still don't know what the shit they are.
He did that to me. He sent me a big goodie box. I don't know what half of it is.
I mean, come on, what's that? That turns up in the box, and it's like, what's that?
That is for a Vectrex.
Why have I got a Vectrex cartridge?
They're like rocking horse shit, I'm telling you.
Lee, what's that?
That's what Steve just had in his hand.
What is it?
Yeah, a bit like one of those.
That's an SD to IEC.
That looks good.
Okay. So what's that?
What does it do?
That, Steve, is a sidekick cartridge.
Okay.
Does this emulate a 1541 drive?
Does that need a Pi?
And the 1581.
So it emulates it.
Yeah, properly. Cycle exact.
That's clever. Does it need a Pi in it?
Yeah.
I haven't got a Pi.
I know what you mean.
Are you have you got Pi trouble in the States there, Todd?
Just like everywhere else in the world. I do have 3 zeros sitting upstairs needing to be built into RGB to HDMIs, but
I've built a couple of them.
Yeah, it's a good solution. I have a couple of IBM machines that are going to. Well, actually, I have 2 CGA monitors, so I have 3 machines, 2 monitors. I'm going to need a video solution for the other machine. I have a 5150, a 5160, and a 5162.
I have a Pi. All 600 accelerator here for the Amiga. Needs a Pi. Can't get a Pi.
Nice.
One of them, Lee.
Right. They're modulators, Steve.
Oh, for what? For
C64s.
What's that, Lee?
That's what Steve just had in his hand.
Mine's got plastic around it.
That's a mine. The black on it. Look.
That boomerang.
I think I know what that is.
You don't need pies where you're
That's
going.
like a sound chip for it.
Yeah, that's a Swinsid.
That's it, yeah, Swinsid.
Steve, that boomerang shaped one is for an Amiga 500. It's for an RGB to HDMI.
Ah, right, okay. What are these?
That's a harness for dead test.
Oh, okay then.
All right, okay. I just thought it were a relocator or something like that one. That.
I mean, I love getting these goodie boxes.
Yeah, that's
the 500 thing. HDMI.
So you can get HDMI out of an A500.
Ah, right, okay. That's your Pi hat then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a Pi again.
You sent all these Pi things over and no Pies. Why would you do that?
You get them all.
No, I do appreciate them, Lee. And I will get around.
It's really good. I was really
as soon as I
happy
can
when I
get
got the
some
box.
The problem is, right, I buy PCBs from PCBWay, and I always get 10 or 11 of these PCBs, and I always make the whole lot up.
Yeah.
So there I am, sitting there with 10 Kung Flu flashes, you know what I mean? Who's going to need 10?
Exactly. Good job you got 10 friends, innit?
Well, that's it.
Yeah, and he just says 2 to each. I've never even used one of those Kung Fu flashes, to be honest.
What?
No, never bothered with one.
All right. What it is it's got an STM chip in it, so it copies your CRT file into local memory and then runs it from there.
So, yeah, so it's not injects it like a tape image straight into memory and then it runs it like a cartridge.
No, it maps its internal memory as cartridge space.
Yeah, I've just what happened with me is with it. I started down the line of getting an SD to IEC, spent loads of money on one of them, and that was great. And then I wanted something else, and then I realised that were a lot of money as well, so I bought one of them. And then I wanted something else, and then I ended up buying Ultimate cartridge, and just thinking, why the hell didn't I buy one of these in the first place?
That's what I'm going to be saying. Yeah.
It just ultimately does everything that anybody needs to do anyway. Dual SIDs, everything. So why would I need to bother with a Kung Fu flash if I've got the Ultimate?
Yeah, but I haven't got the Ultimate, so Kung Fu flash is good for me.
You'll buy it. You'll end up with an Ultimate.
I won't. I've got to get a power supply first.
Tell him, Lee.
You ain't got a power supply.
Exactly.
Right
I get a Commodore 64 for the post next week, and I'm just going to be looking at it.
Stroking it suggestively.
Exactly. Nice Commodore.
Yeah. But honestly, the ultimate is the ultimate. So that's why I haven't really bothered with these other things, because I feel like I know they're nice to experiment with and nice to have a play with and see what we'll do. But it just, when you're looking at like 40, 50 quid for a Kung Fu flash, you just think, well, when it does the same thing as the Ultimate does anyway, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they went up in price quite a bit because the chips were unobtainium for a while.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
But me being me, I bought a batch of 10, before it kicked off.
Back now.
It's what?
Got a whole tray of chips.
We like
with the pies as well.
I've got the chips, I just don't have any pies.
Oh no, someone's done it now. What do you mention a Gal PLA for? Oh my God! No, you don't. No, you don't. Don't piggyback at all. Not with a PLA. You piggyback a memory chip, and you only do that for a few seconds. And Gal PLAs, well, I've done a couple of videos on them. Have a look at that. That's a bit of an eye opener.
Lee, I didn't mention it in my videos. I've actually placed an order for some of the Atmel gals. I'm going to see. I want to see if they're any more reliable than the Lattice ones.
Yeah. To be fair, Todd, the Gal chips I had were AliExpress jobs, So.
Well, yeah, I bought mine from AliExpress, but Daniel, the first Gal PLAs I got his kits from him, and he claims that he buys them from a reliable source, which I'm assuming is DigiKey, or he specifically said he wasn't buying them from AliExpress. So, and at least one of those did go bad on me. So even the ones from reliable sources, the Lattice ones, aren't good.
I thought they're out of production.
They are. They're out of production from Lattice. They're out of production from Atmel, but you can still get them, new old stock. Yeah. So I ordered the Atmel ones from AliExpress, or no, from actually an eBay out of China seller. So I'm hoping I get at least a few that are the real thing, and then I can test if they're going to be more reliable than.
Hope they are real.
Well, El Slapian sent me a couple of Plankton chips, and they're brilliant.
Oh yeah, I
Planktons are. Yeah, definitely.
It's just the advantage to the Gal PLA, the big advantage to it, well, minor advantage is price, but big advantage is you can make as many as you want. You know, that's, you know, you don't have to worry about sourcing a Plankton or someone, you know, some Plankton or PL Advanced or any of the other. Yeah.
he's got more.
I've got piles of them. None of them work.
I got it. I mean, it seems to me it's you know, it's the gals, and
yeah,
I've only had one that programmed and then was bad afterwards. But in my experience, the ones that are bad won't even program for me. Well, I do a blank check first and then try to program.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping Atmel is a better manufacturer than Lattice is, and I got to expect they are, because, you know,
I've used Atmel.
Everything's Atmel these days.
Exactly.
Well, in between two of my videos, I had one of those gal chips go tits up in the space of a week, from programming to gone squiffy.
Yeah, I did have one do that. Yeah.
But when I programmed these and built them originally, they sat in my parts bin. I did them all, made them all, tested them all, and they all worked. Now they don't work.
Like
but I spoke to, I had several lots of emails with Daniel, and his equations are right. Yeah. You know, the design is right. It's the chips that are letting it down.
Oh yeah, every time that I've had people comment on my videos and I've responded, or when I've commented, there was another guy that was doing, or another guy, I forget, Bob's Workbench or something. Anyway, another guy that did a video on the Gal PLA, and I commented to him about the problems we've been having. But every time I've done that, I have made sure to specify that Daniel's design is good. It's just we're being let down by these faulty Lattice Gal chips.
But with that said, the Plankton's design is better. Not by a lot, but it is better, especially voltage-wise.
Yeah, well, you know, again, it's a little pricier to get the Plankton, and you have to wait for it to come, you know, unless you keep it in stock. Yeah. So, whereas you can just throw a Gal PLA together, and Bob's your uncle.
I mean, when you're looking at it though, from a price point of view, if you're going to buy one of these from eBay, say for instance, you're still going to pay £10, £12, £13 with postage for a Gal PLA.
Yeah,
and you're still going to pay £15, £18 for a Plankton.
Yeah,
but I'm only buying them off the top of my head. It's quite a few years ago since I bought them Planktons, because I bought quite a few and just stashed them. The ball's been rock solid stable of the Planktons. I've never had any issues. Where the Gals,
oh yeah,
I bought a Gal off eBay, put it in, don't work. Put it in another one, does work.
Well, the only comment I'd make to that, Steve, is yes, you would pay £10-12 off of eBay for a Gal PLA, but if you actually buy the parts and build it yourself, you're talking probably about £3.
Yeah, I get that, and we enjoy building stuff. Don't get me wrong, but the general public out there that have got these machines won't want to start soldering and stuff like that. They want a drop in and out replacement. Where I think where the experience will be by buying a Gal, it's a bit hit and miss to whether that's going to actually work in your system or not. Where the Plankton, you're pretty much guaranteed. Does the Plankton do the paddles on the as well for the SID, or does it not? I can't remember now.
The SID does the paddles.
The SID does the paddles, but I think there's one. Is there one of the PLAs that doesn't support that? Am I just thinking of the Swin SIDs?
No. You're thinking Swin SID.
Yeah. That side of it. So, yeah, there's only the arm that'll deal with the paddles, isn't it? Yeah. But the PLAs for me Plankton all the way. To be fair, replacement Plankton all the way. The impression that when it comes to new old stock based companies, that's the people wind up bamboozled. Yeah, you're right. New old stock stuff. Stuff can go bad over time on its own. But what I just said earlier about the MOS chips, we know. Even Bill Hurd will tell you that them computers were never built to be around now. He's expected more by now. And the MOS processing for making the chips, the processing how they did that makes them deteriorate on their own over time anyway. So new old stock chips from MOS.
Hit and miss.
You'll never know until you test it.
Exactly, yeah.
Marcus has said unfamiliarity can breed confusion. He's not wrong.
Confusion, yeah.
We're quite lucky with the Commodore machines. There's such a rich scene around it. You're getting games, hardware, and that's not just the 64, it's the Amiga. And they're still coming out regularly with new stuff.
Yeah.
The community is amazing, isn't it? They're still there. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I know there's still stuff coming out for the Spectrums and stuff like that, but I don't think there's as much as what there is for 64.
No, there's definitely a thriving Spectrum scene.
Mm.
I think it's the Amstrad that's.
I was just going to say about Amstrad. You beat me to it.
They're like back in the day. They're like the kid that sat in the corner. He was the one that had an Amstrad.
If I'd have got one in that storage hall, I'd have sent you it down without you even knowing.
Nah, you're all right.
That's for Lee.
Nah, you're all right.
That's
the machine, Neil, that you don't want a power supply for. You can put it on the side.
I need a power supply.
An Amstrad's better where you don't turn it on.
Is that what it is? You just put it on the wall. I think Todd's got some news anyway.
Yeah. Wasn't
you didn't buy an Amstrad?
I have an Amstrad.
Oh.
I have a CPC 464.
Someone has to.
Who else had one?
It's a good one.
Have you got one, Neil?
No.
Josip?
No.
No.
Well, I don't even know if it works.
I've got one.
I can't test it because I'm still waiting on a video lead, but it'll be an upcoming video.
I think you can drag RGB out of it.
To be honest,
but I don't have a monitor that I can take that to, or so.
You don't have SCART, do you?
No, the States. Well, I do. I have a SCART to HDMI converter, which I use for other things. But I'm getting the lead that I'm getting is 6-pin to SCART with the little power plug, the little power thing. So it'll do the job once I get that lead. But right now, I just don't have anything I can plug it into. Yeah, and I don't have any 6-pin DINs either. So
I was quite surprised to be fair when I started playing on mine. I was quite shocked that it were how much better looking and sounding it was to the Spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I only knew one friend that had the Amstrad because obviously back in the day they were quite expensive because you had to pay for the monitor as well. They sold them as a pack, and that's what made them really expensive. My friend had a CPC 464. I used to go around and play that a bit, and I used to think, it's a lot better than Spectrum. But it wasn't as good as C64.
Nowhere near it.
No, not as popular because he couldn't connect it to TV. Well, basically, he came with monitors, didn't he?
Yeah.
You could either have the green screen or the colour. I always remember looking in K's catalogue and seeing how expensive they were.
As much as I love 64, if you took the SID chip away, other systems would have been far better. I think a lot of it would have. It's like a film, isn't it? If it's got crap music, you're not going to enjoy it. If it's got really nice music that goes with the film, you'll enjoy it and go with the flow with it.
Well, I think the 64 had the advantage also not only of the SID but of sprites.
And scrolling.
You haven't got the two colours crashing into each other.
The only difference is, I mean, I think we've said this before anyway, but the Spectrum graphics, the details on him.
Yeah, we're better. I agree. Yeah, they look good.
Big lumps of blocks, like the sprites were, and the colours
Exactly,
the Spectrum had were a lot better than the pastel colours that we had on the 64.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love the 64, and that's why I think I've got the right that I know the where to strip it and make out of it and where it lacked and stuff like that with it. But colours, for sure. Sprites were great. Sprites were absolutely fantastic move. But the detailing, if you could have had the Spectrum detailing in with the sprite,
the different colours,
that'd have been massive.
Exactly, yeah.
It would.
Well, I'm honestly not expecting too much. I mean, I do know this machine came from Alan Sugar. And everything he did, everything he sold was he found something else that someone was selling. He put it in a prettier package and sold it on. So I'm not expecting too much, but I do want to explore it because it's some of the computer history that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
My problem with it was having never owned one. When I went to use it, it was like a shitty ST. That's the feeling I was left with, and there's no hardware scrolling, and that hurts it. There's no hardware sprites. Everything's got to be done by the CPU, which it's going to creak. But the graphics, there might be 26 different shades of green. But I can tell you now that when you play it on a colour screen, it's like radiation, it is. It's just the garish colour palette you've ever seen. And for some reason, every game designer said, let's have loads of orange in there. Everything's bloody Dayglow orange. It's unreal.
Evil J did the Spectrums out.
ST and STF.
It's probably because of the AY chip that's in the bloody.
Yeah, it's the same chip.
It makes it sound
like an ST.
Yeah.
Listen, while we're on the idea of Sinclair, what about Sinclair Sam? Did anybody see one of them?
No.
I remember it coming out.
What, the Sam Coupe?
Yeah. But I've never seen one.
No,
I've never seen one. Wasn't that
the same time the Atari Falcon won it or something, or a bit before?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't remember.
No.
Evil J's just mentioned, did a Sinclair have a disk drive? Well, the Plus 3 came with a disk drive.
Yeah, I remember that. The Amstrad did one as well, didn't he?
Wasn't that the 3-inch disk drive? Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like a bit of an oblong, a rectangular.
The same one as in the Amstrad.
That's it. Yeah, the Amstrad did the same machine.
Yeah,
well, my Amstrad just has a cassette drive. It doesn't even have any kind of disc. So.
Yeah, well, they did a disc version as well, which is CP. I can't remember what it's called, but
the 6128.
Yeah, they advertise it as a word processor.
To be honest, I spent a few hours and I did a video on the Amstrad, and at the end of it, the conclusion I come to was I'd rather have a Spectrum. No, I'm serious, because it just wound me up so much, sounding like an ST with these dodgy graphics. So what is going on?
See, I had an Atari ST when my friends had Amigas.
I did.
Yeah, and I was like, I had an STE. I said, but if people wrote games of mine, it'd be as good as yours, but they never did.
I love my ST. They're brilliant. Yeah. I've got about 8 of them.
Yeah.
They're brilliant machines.
Yeah, I had an STE. I mean, like I say, but because the Amigas were more expensive at the time, weren't they? And that's all my parents could afford at the time. I mean, but it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
With the GEM operating system in green.
Yeah.
And later on, I traded it in for an Amiga at Cash Converters.
I too went to a 500 as well.
Yeah, exactly. A sprayed silver Amiga 500. It was somebody painted silver, but I just wanted an Amiga. That was it. So yeah.
But the ST was a really nice machine, and it was really well thought out. It was just let down, but coming in second to the Amiga, and it was always going to.
Yeah, I think basically it came out of the same machine, didn't it? Same design. I think, what I've heard.
So I think some of the engineers went from one to the other company.
Exactly, yeah. So really, they came from the same idea,
Yeah.
I think.
But when you put the ST into monochrome mode and you did some of the more serious stuff on it, it was really good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it was faster as well, wasn't it? 8 megahertz instead of 7.14.
Yeah. So, and although that sounds like, oh yeah, it's just a little snipe at an Amiga, when it comes to games that that needed 3D, like Epic and stuff like that, it actually run a little bit better than the Amiga did.
I can remember Epic, right? The reason I remember Epic was I was so excited for it to come out. I actually found a copy of it before it came out at the car boot. It was crazy. So I had the game before it actually came out officially released. I was so amazed. I was telling my mates with Amigas, come see this game. Look at these 3D graphics. It was great, that game was.
I remember Dungeon Master coming out, and it came out on the ST first.
Yeah.
And if the guy upstairs to where I was living, he had an A500 and he had an unexpanded A500, and he got Dungeon Master. And every couple of steps he took, it was seeking to the disc. Whereas on the ST, it was just flying. And they both looked identical, but yeah.
Some of the 64 games, don't they? The Infocom games, they do that.
Yeah. It was at school, wasn't it? It was like wars between us, ST and Amiga owners. It was like I say, before that, it was a Commodore 64 versus the Spectrum and Amstrad.
Yeah. Now it's Xbox and PlayStation.
Exactly, yeah. It's always
to be fair, when I was at school, you only had about 4 people with an Amstrad, so they didn't get a look in anyway.
You were one of them. You were one of them.
He doesn't want to admit it, does he? That's what it is on live stream.
Nah, it's not happening.
Well, I'd give equal time to the Spectrum, but Steve never sent me one.
It's still here, mate. It's still here. You're welcome to it. You're welcome to it. I'll try and get it out for you. Send me your address and I'll get it out.
All right.
You're welcome to it.
Well, if you want me to pay postage, I will. So.
Yeah, I'll find out what's what, mate, and let you know.
Okay.
It's not so bad on a Spectrum. It's only that big.
I have.
Oh.
Put it in an envelope. Jiffy bag.
It's very likely to have zero inside it as well.
As long as there's a lot of postage, he's got Pi Zero.
The Spectrum was amazing for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just the simplistic design. It was absolutely amazing what they got out of that.
It was. The downside of it was the speaker on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was like a fart in a can, wasn't it?
It had so many reasons why it shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So number one, the speaker were crapping them, and all he got is and shit like that from it. Number two, you couldn't turn the bastard off.
No.
So when you were in bed at the night time with your telly on, wanting to play another game after you've been told to go to sleep when you were a kid, like, you can't play it because it's got sound coming out of the unit itself. It'd be nice if you could just go to telly and go, and, have a little bit of a play longer, So I mean, other than that, I think the Spectrum Plus were better on it when it all came back out of the serial port.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They were far better. But you'll enjoy it, Todd. It's composite modded anyway, so you can just fire it straight up.
Is it the 16? Is that a Spectrum 16 or a 48?
48.
Oh, 48. Okay.
Todd, the 16s were like a white elephant. The first couple that come out, probably about 5. And then they thought, nah, this is bollocks. And they just put it up to 48. Yeah.
You could pay for upgrades at shop, couldn't you? No, they did is solder some RAM chips in it.
Yeah. The 16s they were so rare here. You're not going to see one of them.
The Atari 2600 is designed to have 2 speakers in the unit. I think
it probably was in the case, but we never put in.
Speaking of 2600, it's only the NTSC ones that had stereo sound, wasn't it? They had 2 channels. I know that from doing all this.
Yeah.
Your brilliant model. You love that. I think it's brilliant, honestly, mate. I can't fault it.
Mine is like a steaming turd. Honestly.
I think mine's here, look. Oops. So knock it all off. Mine's here. Pride and joy.
That's what I had as a kid.
A sixer.
Yeah.
20 quid I paid for that.
Nice.
Posted. And it's cleaned up really nice. And now it's got that your favourite mod in it. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
There you go, look. But yeah, it's a great game. One of my favourite systems. Apart from this Ace Tronic, if I ever get it going, it's up the attic. I don't mean, like I say. Do you remember the Ace Tronics?
Ace Tronics?
No?
Ace Tronic?
Yeah. It was sold over here. It was a UK games console. It came out like it had Space Invaders on it. It was brilliant. Honestly, check it out. Ace Tronic MPU 1000. That's what I played on as a kid, and I've actually managed to get hold of one. I've got it up the attic now. It's got a weird, like, 6-pin power supply on it, which I don't know. I'm going to have to try and work it out.
Red to red, black to black, and blue to bits.
I know that, but I can't believe you can't remember the Ace Tronic. I thought one of you lot would remember it being in the UK.
I probably would if I saw it, but
It's a UK machine, it was. Ace Tronic MPU 1000 had like a silver. It's like an Atari, basically.
Is it 6050?
Oh, don't ask me about that.
Oh, come on.
Never heard of it.
You never heard of it?
No.
We used to go to a shop in Crewe and buy games for it. That's all I remember. And it had analog joysticks, and it had like a controller with loads of buttons on it. You could put an overlay on for different games.
Jesus Christ, that looks like an 8-track.
8-track, I remember them.
Jesus.
And it had like it was the first console thing with analog joysticks, and you could put an overlay. Certain games you got an overlay which went over the actual controller to give you different buttons for different things. You see, I calculated the keypad on it.
I remember us chatting about that, didn't we? Because I said to you that it were a bit like the Mattel Intellivision. I thought that because you said only analog, what about the Intel?
I've actually managed to get hold of one. I've got it up the attic with the Space Invaders game that I used to play a lot.
Ah, cool.
And that is one I'll be keeping it ever get it going. It's made him laugh anyway.
I feel a video coming on. I feel a video coming on.
There will be a video when I get round to it. Yeah, when I get this Jaguar done, I might need to do a live stream with everybody in to help me fix it.
Let us know when it's on, and I'll make sure I'm out.
Only between all of us, we can fix this Jaguar.
I'm sure we could.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could. What's Josip on with?
Sorry?
What's Josip on with?
I don't know. I think he's reading this. Didn't have a basic cartridge. 6507s.
Oh, yeah. It's the Atari 2600.
Yeah, oh yeah, the TIA chip, television interface adapter.
No, they're talking about the keyboard add-on from Spectra Video.
All right, okay.
They did that with Intellivision as well, didn't they? They brought a keyboard out for that.
I don't know. I never had an Intellivision.
You know?
No.
For me, it was mainly I had the VIC-20 and then moved to the 64. But in between VIC-20, there were lots of other things. So my uncle used to get all the latest things. So he always had them. He had like the Philips G7000, the were telling television that he had, and he bought the speech synthesizer that went for it and the keyboard for it. In fact, he's got everything you can get for in television now. He collected everything. So I got to experience some consoles through my uncle as I were growing up. But they were very, very similar to what Neil was saying about that other one that he got, where you slide the cards inside the controller.
Yeah.
Give you extra buttons, but there were 4 buttons on the side. You had the buttons down the front of it. I mean, wow. We only had 1 button on Commodore 64, and here we are with like that you've got. And it's got that many bloody buttons, you don't know which hand to use for controller.
That was, what was that game where you used to get, was it Silent Service or something, where you put the keyboard overlay over the keyboard? The cardboard one. I remember that. Yeah.
There were a lot of Amiga games, there were a lot with them as well. On that last show that I did for the storage boxes, there was a lot of keyboard overlays for them ones with Amigas.
They're crazy, weren't they?
You needed them.
Exactly. But I remember the keys.
Well, how did we go on back in there? Because none of us had originals.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. I had a few originals.
You look through some of these magazines, like F19, and there's a book like that inside it, and it's got all nautical maps and everything inside it, and it's like,
yeah, Interceptor. I remember that book.
But I enjoyed that back then when you used to buy stuff and you got all this literature and books and pictures and posters.
Remember the Commodore 64 Lord of the Rings, where you got the actual Lord of the Rings book?
Yeah.
It was about that thick. I had one of it, fold it out a big plastic case.
Yeah. I've got that.
And it had about 4 cassettes or 5. How many cassettes was it?
I think it was just the one, to be honest, that were in it, and maybe 2.
I had lots of cassettes in it.
Oh,
I can't remember. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I remember that game.
So they did another version of it that looked exactly the same. It was just a thinner box, but without that book.
Yeah.
What's that?
Something about an Atari compiler, I think.
Yeah, we're just commenting about 2600. There is a basic compiler now, so you can use it and program for 2600 with the basic, and it's very, very nice, nice package. I just watched. I don't know. Do you guys watch 8-bit in the basement from Peter?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I do watch it.
Yeah. So he's a really nice guy, and I like to watch his videos. And he's programming game in BASIC for Atari 2600. So yeah.
Didn't the 2600 have to, because it had no RAM or 128 bytes of RAM, didn't you have to write directly to the screen as it was drawing it?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that it was, yeah.
Bloody hell.
I know the guy released Halo on it, didn't he, not long ago? That's the one, yeah. You got the book. Is it only 1 cassette? 2, there you go.
I've got to admit, though, it's Spectrum version.
Oh, what?
Sorry. I know I said that on a live stream. Edit it, put it out afterwards. Yeah, it's nice when you got stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember getting that. I can remember that game from a kid, I can say. Yeah, that was the one. I wish I still had it. I wish I still had a lot of stuff I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Cars as well. If only I'd have known what I knew now.
Ain't that the truth?
Exactly. All those Amigas at car boots for £3.
Yeah. Oh, Marcus has said that thing is an absolute beast. C128 all the way.
I've never owned a C128. I've never used a C128. No.
Oh,
because I went straight from. I went to Commodore. I had a Commodore 16. I wanted a C64, but my parents couldn't afford one, so they bought me a Commodore 16 starter pack. Remember the red and white pack with the basic and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then my brother, eldest brother, he was working. He had a Commodore 64. He used to go up there and play Kung Fu. Was it Bruce Lee with the little spikes that used to pop up? Raid over Moscow.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I used to love those games, and I can't remember what I used to play. Can't remember what I played on the C16. Maybe Purple Turtles or something stupid like that. But then after that, I went straight to the Atari ST, and then to an Amiga. So I missed the C128 because there's a bit of an in between, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was quite lucky.
It's very expensive as well, wasn't it, at the time, I think?
Still is. I've been looking for one on the cheap, but I can't find it.
No, they're very hard to find over here still as well, I think. We'll find cheap anyway.
What's that?
C128s.
Oh, do you know?
He's got 5.
He hasn't got 5. He's got 11.
I've got a FLAC, and I've got a D as well. And I sold a FLAC to get out of a D.
Is the D one like the one with the external
key?
Like an Amiga 1000, 2000 sort of shape.
Yeah, I remember that.
You can click your keyboard into it, and it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You what, Todd?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, he's saying he couldn't get hold of them in the US. Apparently, it must be even rarer over there.
Well, they're available, but the money, I just can't afford one right now.
I agree. Yeah. It's crazy.
They're a bit of a crazy price over here. I've got a couple of that I imported from the Netherlands with the you know, all the crazy lettering where they've got dots and bloody hats and all that sort of stuff. I've got a couple with them keyboards, and I think it's called a DIN character set.
Yeah.
I've got a 128D. I've got 3 or 4 flats, and I've got one I built myself, the Neo 128. That's
you got DC. Which one was the metal one? Was that the DCR?
No, the DCR was plastic.
Right,
Same
okay.
shape, but it was a D cost reduced, so it was all plastic. But just the D was the metal one.
Right. You weren't out for very long, were they?
Sorry?
How long were they out for?
Only 2 years.
Not
Exactly.
long.
I can't remember them being out for long because then the Amiga came out.
They were a bit of a pointless one, to be honest, but they spoiled it by putting the 64 mode in it.
Yeah.
If they hadn't put 64 mode in it, it'd probably done better.
I don't know about that. That was the only bit of it I used.
I know, because the game's not 1 to 8.
I mean, when I was a kid, that's what I did. I'd turn it on, I'd have the Commodore key held down, and that was it. It was either that or Go 64.
Yeah.
So it was just a Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Oh no. The machine's got a Z80 in it as well, so it's got a whole different mode. So not only have you got Commodore 64 mode, you've got a C128 mode which runs at 2 megahertz, or you could load up CPM and switch it into a CPM machine. It also had 2 video interfaces, so you could output to 80 column mode at the same time.
But back in the day, what did you use it for?
C64.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by if they had to put that mode in, when they released that thing out, all developers and stuff like that were like, stuff that, what's the point in making them for 1 to 8? Would you carry on making them for 64? There's loads of 64s out there. We'll still make loads of money on it. And the 1 to 8 users will just use that in 64 mode anyway.
Yeah, but to be honest, in the 2 years it was out, it wouldn't have got any traction. It just would have been a steaming turd in the corner.
It would have fill-in point, really, on it. Nice machine, but just a fill-in point before Amiga, I think.
And the Amiga properly trounced it.
Yeah. I think they should have left that and brought the Amiga forward, sort of thing, if you know what I mean, in hindsight, really. But I'm glad it's part of the history, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the Commodore had some, like the CD32. That wasn't very popular, was it?
No. What was it like over in America?
Todd?
Fell asleep.
You fell asleep.
No, I'm here.
Talk about Commodore machines. What's the rare ones in America? Like the CD32, did that catch on? Or
The CD32, I vaguely remember hearing of it, but I don't think it was very popular at all.
It were back at the end of the death of Commodore, if you like, because Commodore had made all them units and they built a load of NTSC machines and they were already in the factories ready to be let out.
didn't you get sued
due to some software copyright issues in court?
Exactly.
I think it was Atari. I'm not 100% sure.
It was over the flashing cursor.
It was.
Right.
That's what it was.
So they'd run out of money.
It was a very small company.
They wouldn't let the CD32s because they got fined so much money. They couldn't release the CD32s out in America to retain some money back, so which ended up sending them into liquidation, to be fair.
Yeah.
But apparently there was a storage unit somewhere that had full of these NTSC units at one point.
It could be. It makes sense that it was Atari. Atari and Commodore were always at each other's throats.
I don't think it was Atari. It was a very small company. It took them to court.
Was it?
It was something to do with software, wasn't it? Like I say, with blinking.
It was over the flashing cursor. Let me just check.
Commodore had a flashing cursor before most other computers had it, so any other company would have to be.
Yeah, the flashing cursor went back to the 70s, didn't it?
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the PET had a flashing cursor.
You know it.
Something like that.
It's basically wrote by Microsoft, wasn't it, at the end of the day? That was one of Bill Gates' worst mistakes that he ever made.
Yeah.
By giving Commodore free reign on the license for the CBM Basic.
Well, yeah. Be fair, that one little mistake didn't cost him very much. He was still a multi-billionaire by the time he was done.
Yeah, he'd just been there a bit quicker, wouldn't he?
His whole business model was to steal everything from everyone else. So when you don't have to put the money into R&D and you just get to take what you stole and sell it, you're gonna make a fortune.
Yeah.
It was something stupid anyway that destroyed Commodore.
It was some software anyway. It was something to do with some software rights or something like that.
It was XOR patent.
XOR.
Hardware flashing cursor. It was. They sued them over. There you go. It was a company called XOR, and they apparently had the rights to the hardware flashing cursor.
Right. So if it had been software based, it'd have been okay then.
Exactly. Yeah. Then
I think that's why they spat the dummy out when they brought the Oceanic disk drives out.
I can't remember that one.
Well, the Oceanic disk drives, they had basic in there. It had a 1541 basic in it, and all they did is move the coding down into another location and swapped a couple of pins round. That's all they did. If you'd actually dumped their kernel for that Oceanic drive, it said CBM. If you read through it, look through down it. So they were getting sued for that. So what they did is they swapped and they moved to Jiffy DOS, and they started putting Jiffy DOSes in them towards the back end before selling the drives off. That's on the Oceanic drives. Have you seen them?
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's the thinner one, isn't it?
Yeah, it just looks like a little Amiga drive, really.
Yeah.
I'll show you one. I've got another rarity, and I'll quickly show you.
I think it looks like a Kumana drive. It's that kind of style, where it's a drive wrapped in a bit of tin.
Yeah, Commander drives well like that, actually. You still undo the 4 screws and then pull the top off.
That's it.
Yeah. And then inside, you could just get your little cotton wool bulb and clean the heads. So my lighting's not very good now, is it? I need to get this electrician in.
You just park it.
Getting dark. You're not allowed to do anything anymore. What's it like in America, Todd? Can you still do electrics in America?
Can we still do what? I'm sorry.
Electrics in the house in America.
Well, there's code, building code, and if you don't match it when the inspector comes, you will get hit with massive fines. So you can do the electric work in your house, but it's almost better to go ahead and pay the ridiculous price of the electric.
Yeah, we can't do anything now because it's part. What is it? Part B or something? I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know, mate.
It's all
There's one
changed.
of them.
So
That's
it's like a Kimana.
OEC, it says on there, but when you read on the back of it, it says Oceanic. And you've also got the Accelerator Plus, which is exactly the same drive with a different sticker on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have them two, and I don't know whether anybody's ever heard of this one. You might have done, because I've done a video on it, to be fair, but that one.
Never heard of it.
Blue chip, I've heard of that.
It's quite fast. They did the 1541 version, and they did a 1571 version as well.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. I think I heard of the second one you had up. You had
Accelerator Plus.
I think I remember Adrian Black doing a video on the accelerator. So.
Yeah. Good.
I think the problem was they're not 100% compatible.
No, they're about 99. They're pretty good. And they're fast, to be honest. They're really fast. Especially when you got Jiffy DOS in as well.
Yeah, well, you get... The problem I think happened was when they were sold, people were buying some games with copy protection that would just make them fall over.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking their disc back to the shop saying, what the fuck? It's not working. And then bang. It turns out to be the disc drives.
Yeah.
Because towards the end of the life, they did some really funky stuff with half tracks, weak sectors, and stuff like that.
I suppose it was like CDs, wasn't it? You know, they come out as a one speed and they got faster and faster and faster and more stable, more reliable. Same with disc drives, I suppose, back in the day. We know 1541s like to throw the toys out from it anytime they feel like it.
Well, Evil J just made a good point. They're 100% compatible as soon as you crack the game. And that's the thing. Cracked games worked all the time.
Yeah, they did. And you got the cool intros.
Yeah.
Fairlight.
Yeah. When dreams come true.
Exactly, with the scrolling things and stuff too, great. You had to press the left key or right mouse button to continue or something like that.
Yeah. Spacebar a lot of time on it, one with one of them, but
yeah.
Sometimes music on them intros, the crack intros, were better than
exactly. Yeah, you spend more time watching the intro than the actual game. Fairlight, yeah, they're great.
Actually, I'm working on a video where with topic that someone cracked my game. So, yeah, they took my game and they published a crack version of my game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I actually, when I didn't publish anything. To be fair, everything I do, I just publish on YouTube video, making a YouTube video, right? And every time I make a source code publicly available, that's it. So what they did, they took the source code, they modified it, and then they added a demo at the beginning, like it's cracked game, and they publish it as a crack game. And you will see when I publish the video, they kind of send some messages addressed to me, and with some nasty images. You will see. It's going to be quite surprising crack.
Well, at least you can say you've had a popular game that's been cracked.
Yeah.
You wrote a C64 game that was popular enough to get cracked.
Exactly. So that's really good.
Yeah, in a kind of way. Yeah, I'm not mind because my code is publicly available. Everybody can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
It is funny, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, to call it a crack, it's not a crack, but yeah, whatever.
Well,
I think it's getting near ending it, 9:30.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go because of the kids. So.
Yeah, I think my doggy probably wants to go outside.
Yeah, I'm running out of beer as well, so.
And I can't leave
I
out
haven't got a fridge in here.
No, actually, don't play. I'm only joking.
I need to go sort out my C64 delivery.
Well, guys, thanks for joining. Everybody who is watching us, thank you for attending, and we had a great time and loved the interaction with you guys. That was better than our first. We didn't have the comments available to us the first video, our first live stream we did.
Exactly, yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah.
I don't know why. When I come away from it, it said that you had to put it onto Premiere, but you can't set it as a Premiere.
I remember you saying that, so I looked for a way to make it Premiere. There was no way for me to make this thing a Premiere.
There used to be when I first used it about 12 months ago. When I set it up as a scheduled one, it automatically went as Premiere. But we didn't have the chat, and when I did the live stream yesterday, and I was expecting no chat to be there, but all the chat was there like it is today.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a SteamYard glitch at the time. Who knows?
Or they just upgraded something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you everybody for your time and your involvement and interacting with us. We appreciate it. We'll be doing this again in a month. We'll have to decide. It'll either be on Joseph's channel or Neil's or Lee's, but Steve and I have now already done it, so it's their turn in the barrel. So look forward to some information about when that's going to happen, and we appreciate everything you've done. And that'll be it for today. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.